over them and settle over us as we do the business. Give us some wisdom, and we need to embark the proper business and do the right things for the right people, for the taxpayers of Ottawa County. We just ask that you would be with us in all that we do in the coming days. In thy name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, you were just a minute late.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much the kids and grandkids wore me out. I'm in slow-mo.
Oh, just wait till next week when they're at the fair.
Well, they're gone.
They're not gonna get to come?
No, they're from North Carolina,
Oh.
so it's one time a year. So I saw this sign from Mort's Fireworks. Is that a relative of yours?
Nephew.
Nephew. Is that Gage?
Yep.
So he's a fireman too, right?
Right.
Because he was at that emergency management meeting.
Okay, well, I guess, what do we talk about, the Arnold Group, or what do we wanna do here, Tammy?
Yeah, we can just jump right in. So I have for you guys the Arnold Group contract. This is to allow them to continue to assist us as needed. The service fee annually is $4,046. It would start August 1st, 2026. It would end July 31st, 2027. Since we have the new pay scale, it's just kind of something to help us along, and keep us, if we have any questions, to keep it updated as we're still navigating through it. Just to have them on standby, help us place people if we need help placing, so. We would just like you to.
Do we need them?
We need them for at least another year.
So you believe, so tell me, you just said for a year, so you kind of answered my question. But it's kind of one of those things, they give us the scale and you guys adjust it up. And they would tell us if we need to revise the scale or where to place people. Is that what they do?
So there are sometimes, like, we're still learning how the placement, if we have some questions, we turn to them. I also know they're gonna be updating to a more cloud-based system that's easier than what we have now, and we wanna be along for that. So it allows us to have continued updates. If it needs to be revamped in any way, if we have any questions to add anything. It's a very complicated
I agree.
Yeah, so it's something that, as
All
we're
right.
working through it, we do have a lot of questions for them, and this just allows for a one-time fee for
Okay.
that.
So how much is it?
$4,046 for the year.
So can I ask, would that come out of the benefits fund? Is that where you're-
Contractual.
I don't remember who we paid them out of. It'd be wherever we paid the wage scale originally out of.
Well, I think you used ARPA funds
Right.
for those.
You guys use ARPA for that?
Yeah.
Let
I
me
think
just,
They're gone
I looked
unless
at
you
it.
got some hid somewhere.
I looked it up and we spent $89.70 in '23, and then $59.80 in '22, and then '23, and then that last one was a 3-year contract. And then remember last year, we said we had one more year before we'd have to pay for
Right.
it. And, I can see it coming out of benefits, otherwise it'd have to hit a miscellaneous in the general fund. Is that what you're thinking?
yeah, I would guess it would be where the, are you talking about the benefits line, or are you talking about the entire fund?
I was thinking of the benefits fund.
Okay,
We have a
yes,
miscellaneous
I'm
line
sorry.
item.
Gotcha, I'm sorry, I was thinking specifically line item,
Ah.
yes,
Okay.
yes, it would come out of
Well,
that.
I guess we, need a motion to,
So I'll move to approve the contract with the Arnold Group for 1 year beginning in August 1st for $4,000 and $4,046 to be taken out of the benefit fund.
I will second that one.
it's moved and seconded to, approve the contract with the Arnold Group for $4,046 for the year. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And the next thing is the audit and management
chairman.
representation letter.
This is Don Wolf. I figured you're female.
You want me to?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
We're saying, I saw this yesterday.
gave it back
gave it
to
to him. He gave it back to me. And it said chairman, so I gave it to him. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. The audit management representation letter. So this is the letter we get every year from the auditor that we sign before he sends us the final audit. It just explains the duties of an audit and what he did and what the terms were of the audit. So once we sign that, we can continue on. I believe the next step is just to receive the final audit.
Oh, I was hoping you had it.
Nope, we have to send this in first.
Oh, we have to sign this first, okay. Well, I read through it, and it said no knowledge, what I focused on was no knowledge of fraud, no knowledge of non-compliance.
Mhm.
So it looks like we got a clear opinion, that's, I think, the right term. Tammy, a clear opinion. It's kind of different because we're a government, it's not like normal audited GAAP financial statements, so. But I didn't see anything in here that concerned me, did you guys?
No.
No violations or possible violations of budget ordinances I clued in on 27.
Okay.
So,
Yep, no budget violation.
All
So
right.
I'll move for the chairman to sign the management representation letter from our auditors Lindbergh, Vogel, Pierce, and Ferris for 2025.
have a second?
It's moved and seconded for the chairman to sign the management representative letter from Lindbergh, Vogel, Pierce, Ferris, and Chartered. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I signed this one. Do you need another one?
No, I'll just take the one you have signed.
Okay. Put that in.
Yeah.
Please.
You want one for your record book, Scott?
Yeah.
I'll take mine out here.
You have two?
I've got one.
No, just keep it then. I'll get one from Tammy. I don't want you not to.
Do you want copies of both?
Yeah, sometime soon, just so I don't. Well,
Did you get my changes last night?
Yep, I got it on this morning.
let me call Truett.
I just
Mhm.
texted him, but yeah, if you wanna call me, you sure can.
You. Morning, Carl. You could, come a little early if you can. Thank you.
You want me to approve the consent agenda while
Sure.
we wait? I'll move to approve the consent agenda, which consists of accounts payable of $90,421.55, the minutes of June 22nd, and the June payroll.
I will second that.
It's moved and seconded to pay the bills at $90,421.55 and to approve the minutes of June 22nd and also the payroll. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me.
Dwayne, I don't think you signed that one.
Wonder what I signed twice.
We don't have to do anything with this notice of hearing, do we? That was just for our information?
That is just for your information, they just sent you a copy.
Okay.
I guess you can give us your comments.
You want me to start that?
Tammy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
Oh, I do have one comment. The road vacation that we had scheduled for July, 20th, or excuse me,
23rd.
20th.
has to be moved to the 27th. When I went to send the publication, I realized we would not have it in the paper 20 days prior, so it has been moved to the 27th.
or Solomon Road between
Yeah.
Frontier and Granite.
Yep. So I just wanna let you know about that change, and it was changed for the publication to reflect that, because I had to get it in. And then just to let you know that the, canvas for the election is scheduled for August 12th at 9 a.m.
It, okay, and that's what,
August 12th, so that's a different day than normal.
Yes.
on the.
Oh, I have that down. You wanna remind us?
Yeah, I didn't
It's
know
what
if I had that
now?
on your calendar.
What's it
so-
for?
Canvas ballots.
The canvas of the election.
Appeal? Is that what you said?
Canvas of the election.
Canvas.
Nine.
Hey, True.
12.
True.
Morning, how's everyone doing?
Peachy.
Good deal.
I don't know if
Did
I go
everybody
quite
got their fingers still?
I don't know if I go quite that far, do I?
Peachy?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Monday. You never peachy on Monday.
No.
Hey, before we go into exections, can I talk a little bit about something a constituent brought up with me?
Okay.
And maybe you guys have encountered this too, Dwayne and Scott, but, they stopped me and they said, so, Truett, so we, the commission, determines the budget, and then we ask Truett to find the money. And to have Truett find the valuation. And I said, no, that's not how it works at all. And because they thought that we told you
What to do?
how much
Yeah.
to increase the valuations so
Oh.
that we could have the money we needed.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to him that
Did you take a double take?
I said, we're totally independent. And I
And the
said,
valuation's produced way before the budget
Yeah.
is.
yeah, well, I said the valuation, but we are totally independent.
Right.
Would you agree? You do your side of it. And
And
we
the
do-
state, he has to do what the state
Yeah.
guidelines him, to do.
Yeah, so
Anyway.
I thought it was interesting that how, people misunderstand.
Did they believe you when you explained it to them?
I hope so. Because I told them we're
A lot of
totally,
times people believe what they wanna believe.
And you'll never change their minds.
Yeah.
I've had that happen with this particular situation.
Yeah.
Well, you can't tell me you can't change our taxes. I said, well, I'll tell you what, Truett might be able to change it 10%, but I don't know. You'll have to go visit with him.
but that's not his goal.
Well, I know.
Yeah, his goal is just to do the fair market value.
Fair and equitable.
Yeah, and for them to think that we manipulate what you do, or you manipulate what we do, it doesn't work that way. So I was trying to explain to them that it was totally independent. And then it was another interesting conversation I had, and I text Truett on this, and this is when two people have equal properties beside each other, and one maintains it really well and one doesn't. The one that maintains their property is valued higher because of fair market value of that property,
Yep.
correct?
That's what it all goes back down. What's public gonna pay for it?
And so they said, well, that is totally unfair because we maintain our property and we have to pay more taxes. The flip side is they reap the benefits when they go to sell the property, but in the meantime, they do pay higher taxes, so they had a struggle with that.
The moral to the story is, make your place look like crap and make it really nice inside.
Always tell them, finish your basement.
Okay, Scott, your neighbors are not gonna appreciate that.
Well, I know that, but that's what some people think, well, maybe that's what we should do. And I'm thinking, well, we'd rather you didn't do that, but.
It's all up to them.
Yeah.
But those were just my two comments that I wanted to talk with you. And I thought it's good for other people to know,
Sure, it is.
so that they don't think that that's how it works.
Well, can you imagine some of the elderly and people that go through their life not paying attention to any of this, thinking that, and it's sad that that's what they think, but there's a lot of people that think that.
Well, I think the best thing about the videos is that more people ask questions about what's going on. And like a friend of mine, someone I know, a constituent, sent me a Celine plat book because the other meeting I said, I don't have a Celine plat book. I was trying to find that Lego bridge, and they sent it to me. So I was thinking, this is a wonderful thing. So.
All right, how many minutes you need?
Oh, 15.
Boy, All right.
Well, we'll see, but I think that'll work.
So non-elected to discuss, what's our topic?
Hiring a
employee
new
hiring?
employee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and you said 15 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be 8:32. So I'll move to go into executive session under the non-elected personnel exemption to discuss hiring personnel for 15 minutes to end at 8:32 in the commission room to include Truett McQueen and Tammy Cox.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded for the commissioners and Truett and Tammy to go into executive session for 15 minutes for non-elected personnel to discuss employees or an employee and to return at 8:32. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Scott, did you put that sign at the doorway to block me?
Yeah.
That is so
Audio's on.
All right,
How much rain did you get?
about an inch.
Wow.
Oh, you did, Friday night? Oh, well, I'll make a motion to.
Wait, sorry, the graphics not coming up. There we go. Whoa, almost. Oh, other way. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion that, we instruct Truett McQueen, the appraiser's office, to proceed hiring someone at a code deputy appraiser position
And visiting with HR about it.
and to visit with HR about it,
Yes.
I will
about the
second.
salaries. Yeah.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to have Truett move ahead on hiring a code appraiser and visiting with HR.
Code deputy.
Code deputy. And visiting with HR beforehand. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Scott Lloyd? Oh, he's not here.
There you go.
I have quite, I know this is gonna surprise you, I have quite a few comments. Do you want me to
Okay,
start
well, let's go ahead.
till he gets here?
Yeah.
Okay, so, you guys got that information about the K-Works board?
Mhm.
And if you feel like you want Ottawa County represented, I'd be happy to serve on that, if you think it's good for us. I did reach out to Mike Cleveland, cause he's at Cloud County, cause he's on it currently, and he's president currently. And, one of the positions that Ottawa County would be, for the one that is vice president, and I reached out and said, do you know if her name is Julie Dunkel? And Chelsea Schmidt would be the other at-large one. I said, do you foresee them wanting to be reelected or reappointed? I think they were both appointed, and they would have to be reelected. And I reached out to him, I said, if you feel like they're gonna choose to be reelected, then I'm fine with. But, do you want me to wait and see what Mike says and to
That's fine.
decide?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't know if one of you guys
No, I don't.
preferred to do that, or,
No.
since it's all math, I thought it was something I would probably embrace.
Yeah.
How about
Okay,
that?
so you were waiting to see what Mike says?
Yeah, is that
Okay.
right?
Yep, that's good.
And then I didn't see this till after our meeting, but I thought that was so nice about the Bennington High School seniors sent us the thank you note. Wasn't that nice?
It is nice.
So I thought that was kind of thoughtful. So last week, no, 2 weeks ago, when we talked, I was supposed to reach out to Jeff Ebel, county attorney, about a couple of things.
Yeah.
One was regarding the potential healthcare sales tax, and it being a ballot measure would require, the commission cannot stop it. It would also have to be a ballot initiative to stop, measure, yeah.
If it was not sunsetted.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So
Okay.
we couldn't stop it. We would have to put it on the ballot again.
All right.
And then the second question you asked me to ask him was about the flyers for the sales tax. And it says, if the commission wants to hand out flyers about this possible sales tax, is there any, oh, that was mine. And is there any legislation that would prohibit it? And he said, using tax dollars must be neutral. That is the legislation. I guess one of us should prepare the materials at our own expense. That's what I said. So if we printed anything, if we distributed anything, it would have to be in a neutral position if we use any kind of county dollars. And so we could independently prepare things, materials, but we couldn't use county monies to do it.
You can't even use a copy machine?
I wouldn't think so. So,
Sounds like the key, as long as it's neutral, putting information out, as long as it's
Yeah.
not swayed one way or the other.
Right.
Okay.
right. And, I was actually thinking, and what might be kinda good is, I know this sounds weird, walk around with a clipboard and just say, hey, the commissioners are thinking about doing this. What are your thoughts? What do you know about it? What do you not know? And just kinda try to explain both sides.
Straw poll.
Yeah, and not obviously a random sample, but that's just an easy way to do it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Just, I mean, I'll take any ideas you guys think.
That's gonna take quite a little bit of,
We'd have to have Ebel probably look at the publication that we would do to be sure that he thinks it's non-neutral enough? Could we list the pros, could we list the cons on it, and if they were equal,
I don't know of any cons.
you know, higher taxes?
Yeah, it's an additional tax.
Yeah.
Scott's
Yeah, I
covered.
don't-
Scott's on a roll today. He's in a good mood. You must have had a really good 2 weeks.
I haven't. I haven't slept for 2 days, so that's probably why I'm not, anyway.
Yeah,
Do you wanna try to prepare something, Dwayne, for Jeff to look at, or?
could possibly, yeah.
I think that, I'd
Do
be,
do we need to have anybody else involved with what it says, like, I don't know,
Tammy?
yeah.
Tammy
She doesn't
can't
wanna
be
do it, I
involved.
know,
Tammy
but
can't be involved because she's an election
Yeah,
officer.
because it would go on the ballot, I have to stay completely neutral.
Yeah.
So
So-
we have to.
Well, that's
have-
what we're trying to do. We wanna be sure it's completely neutral.
I can help, I mean, if you need like gathered information.
proofread it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, I can proofread
Okay.
anything that would go out, that would come from the county, that's neutral.
I think it's for next week, so I don't know what your schedule looks like, Dwayne.
Got a few doctor's appointments, but we'll make it.
Okay, and then you can bring it, and we can look at it next
Yeah,
week.
next
before
week.
Then the fair,
Yeah, then the fair.
then the fair, so.
Not till that, well, we wouldn't do anything
Tuesday.
till that Tuesday.
I know that, I'm just saying, he's gonna have a lot going on,
Yeah.
so he needs to get it this week.
It might be
Okay.
helpful with, getting EMS in the hospital, since they would be,
I wondered about that, but I didn't know,
I would recommend, because they're the ones who would benefit from it, and they could probably articulate best how it would be used and why it's important, and,
have a comment from each, like from Carl and on there.
and they might help be able to promote it, or if they feel it's necessary, they'd probably be the best ones to.
You know, I interrupted you. I'm
You're
so
right,
sorry.
that's it.
I'm more than anything, I'm thinking even, I don't even know if we can do pros and cons, if that's
Yeah.
considered neutral. I would get with Jeff first, and to be honest, he responded right away when I sent him that,
Mhm.
so,
Okay.
Okay,
Alright, well, let's,
I'll take it.
okay,
yeah, see if pros and cons is even acceptable.
if you'll, okay, that's fine.
So I did have my Zoom meeting with Flint Hills Central Kansas Area Agency on Aging.
I'm interested to see how this went.
Yeah, and, so it was Julie and Ann and Daryl Rickenberg, and they asked to, record it, so I said yes, I said, well, these are all open, so, anyway. So they said that they had been providing friendship meals since 1975 to 18 counties, and, of those 18 counties, right now, ours are struggling the most. That was not a good thing. And so both the cook and the site manager had resigned, and they had a new cook that started Tuesday the 23rd. And I went there that day, and the meal was very good. And Ann had came and prepped with the cook the day before, so that was helpful.
So is the cook down now? With a broken ankle or something?
I think that's what I
Did you
heard.
hear that?
I think, that's what I heard. I don't know about broken, but sprained ankle really bad or something.
She was gonna be off this week. She had it scheduled before she was hired. So I knew they had those frozen meals coming from EPCO, so I did not.
Somebody told me she got hurt, but I don't know.
6 days ago, it was posted on Facebook that the new cook sustained a minor injury over the weekend and unable to work that day. I don't know if she's continuing since.
Yeah, I thought she was taking most of this week off, so maybe it started on the 8th.
Okay,
Okay, well, we'll assuming we still have the cook. So, so the cook, they pay the cook $8 an hour, and I asked for a spreadsheet, and they haven't sent that to me, about how the hourly amounts are computed per, center, so I could make sure that we are getting paid appropriately. And, volunteers are not paid because the substitute cook is paid, so volunteers are not paid if they step in. And so Saline County is different than all the other centers since 2010, and they said that Saline instigated it, and their employees are county employees, and they charge $7 per meal. And Flint Hills contributes a certain amount per meal if the constituent is assessed. And our center, our Golden Wheel, I believe, is really good about getting people assessed the first time they come. They always hand it out that I've seen. The contributions, that the participants, they're not mandatory, their donations were low there, and, but they're still under the older Americans Act. And for the other 17 counties, all contributions received are sent to Flint Hills. So they keep their own now, Saline County, because they're county employees. But they do get some monies from Flint Hills. And they stated that the board, the cook, and the site manager should go to them directly with any problems. And I told them that the problem has been that they haven't been getting responses. They call and they didn't get responses, but they have hired Ann, and I heard that it's gotten better. But, you know, they were saying that's the correct protocol. And then they talked about food preparation, that the board shouldn't be in the kitchen. And I told her that the board had to step up and make freezer meals, and the board had to step up when they didn't have a cook. So, but they were making for food safety standards that they shouldn't be in there. Since then, they've put signs up and said they don't want anyone in there except the cook. And I talked about the fundraisers. They used to cook the kitchen for that as well. And I did communicate that I felt, and I believe it's a we, but I said I felt that the board had gone above and beyond what they had to do to get meals to our seniors, because they were kind of saying that our board, you know, was
Right.
also not doing it correctly. That's what I should say. And they asked if I had attended a board meeting, and I said no, that I hadn't been asked. And like within an hour, I was called and asked to attend a board meeting. So I'll be going to their board meeting, the next one.
North Central, Flint Hills.
No,
Local.
they want me to go to the Golden Wheel. So, so the Affordable Care Act requires employees to provide health care to their employees if they work 30 hours or more. So the cook currently works 35 hours, and the site manager works under 30, as well as the driver that they respond. So the counties bill 90% of the healthcare costs for the cook. So I asked them if all the other counties were paying that 90%, and they said all but one, and they're just having discussions about that. I was trying to make sure that we were being treated like everyone else, that everyone was paying this 90% insurance, that what they give us for the cook is fair. And then when you looked at the meals, I was telling them that in the meals in January we had, they prepared like 1653, and in February they prepared 1,800 meals, and then that decreased all the way down to 428 in May because I'm not having a consistent cook. So, and then when we have lesser meals, they contribute less money for the cook, and it's like this vicious cycle that we're on currently. So, they did say that the freezer meals, they have gotten their food provider, EPCO, to start providing freezer meals, and that they are labeled. That was one thing that was a concern. So, they should have meals that week that the cook, here I have down that the cook was supposed to be gone the week of July 8th. So, and also the menus are also prepared by Flint Hills to meet the dietary requirements. And the site manager, Christy, is training Sheila Reed to be an assistant site manager for the interim until a site manager is hired. Delphus is currently getting their meals from Glasgow, right?
Mhm.
And they're gonna continue doing that, I guess.
Right.
And it says the board, and I pointed out that the board subsidizes the salaries, and this makes the line somewhat gray as far as, you know, the Flint Hills said they should, all the problems should go to them, but also I think it's hard because Golden Wheel Board is also paying salaries, so they feel like they should be involved as well. So overall, I thought the meeting went pretty well, and I think Ann is very attentive and responsible and a peacemaker, and could hopefully get the lines drawn more clearly. The new cook, Jessica, I hope that the new cook, Jessica, stays and that they hire a site manager. But I spoke briefly to Bernice Wilcox, who's on the board, and I said, you know, the 90% for the insurance is built in to our budget. And if the cook could work, and your HR, so 29 hours rather than 30, we could possibly use those monies to, one, increase her salary. She would get more per hour, but work less hours, so we don't have to pay healthcare, and possibly hire an assistant cook, because they were saying how overwhelmed it seems to do a prep for that many meals.
Right.
Did Flint Hill say we could do that if they went to 29?
No, they just said if you have over 30 hours.
That's all they said, okay.
Yeah.
We'd have to check with them, cause they may not allow that.
Yeah, well, I also told them that their healthcare insurance, based on the 90%, is higher than ours. And, they said, well, that's the best they could find, so.
Mhm.
Anyway, if you work all the math out and try to see if there's a way to have her get paid more per hour, not have to pay the insurance, and have an assistant, I think that's the best situation right now. I don't know if we're gonna pull that off or not, and that's really up to the board. I'm sorry, I should say that. And when I go to the board meeting, I'll tell them to reach out to Flint Hills and make sure that that works for them. But that's what I was told. So that was my long-winded discussion. Do you guys have any questions? Did any of that disagree with what you believe? It's interesting, they really felt like everything should be funneled through them, and I felt like they were the blocking point.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I mean, that's my opinion.
so maybe with Ann being there,
So, did, I'm sure they didn't, you didn't discuss this with them, but has there been any more talk about just going on their own?
well, that's, well, I like the idea, when I heard that Celine is still under them to get some benefit, it sounds like Ottawa County could maybe not be under friendship meals, but if they have people get assessed, they could be under them for subsidized food or something.
So, this is what I think. You know, they say, when they come here, the board or the people from the Golden Wheel, their main worry is that if they do that Flint Hills will come in and just take the stuff.
Whatever remaining is theirs.
But I'm thinking that if they wanted to be good people, why wouldn't they sell us that stuff? It's already in place, you know.
I wonder
Instead of
what-
have to tear it out and make such a mess, and then you cannot get something that's gonna fit right back in there. And so, I mean, I guess we have to get
It's probably twice as
it,
expensive and made half as well.
right. I guess we have to get our attorney, I mean, if this comes down to this far, I mean, I don't know what to do, but I think there should be some way to make a deal with them to pay them.
Yeah, you wonder if Celine, when they separated, if they just paid the
Right. Come on
appreciated
in, Scott.
value of
Come on in.
It said quiet.
it. So,
So, well, that's just a thought. I just wondered. I mean, I don't want them coming in there and taking that stuff.
yeah,
I mean, I think there should be some way to work
oh, I
around
did,
that.
I did take a picture of the food that, do you wanna see what it looked like? It was, that lunch I went down for, that the cook did. And it was really good, and she had been in food service before, so I'm hoping Jessica stays.
Okay. Well, she does too.
But it was a long conversation. I think my thing is to make sure we're treated like everyone else. And that, they understand that when they say this is the protocol, we had not gotten responses.
Right.
So, anyway, do you want me to do one more?
Yeah, he's gonna,
Okay, so I was very.
one more, isn't that about it?
I'm almost done. I was very, it's been 2 weeks, Scott.
I know.
I was very impressed with the debrief meeting by Miller Carnes. Weren't you, Dwayne? Dwayne was
Yes.
there. And, regarding the storm event, and there were about 30 people there. Most fire districts were represented, the Minneapolis Police, EMS, the Sheriff's Department, USD 239, and the Red Cross. And it seems like everyone worked well together based on what was reported. There's some improvements need to be made in Bennington specifically, and that was discussed about siren issues, and they're going to send it to a city, and they put them out in the water bill as a newsletter. So hopefully they can communicate siren issues there. And the other thing is that they don't have a generator. Minneapolis was in such a better place because they have a backup system where Bennington Fire Department did not have a generator, so they're looking into things like that.
I think that's I mean, I don't think it would cost that much for the fire departments, you know, like the smaller ones to get, it wouldn't cost that much to get generators. I think we're coming to the day and age that if you can't get in your building,
Yeah, they had trouble with the doors and
yeah,
stuff. And-
you're in deep trouble because, especially if there's a fire
Mhm.
and everything, you know, everything else, so.
Well, they were talking too, that they'd kind of like to have it be the cooling station as well, so to get a generator that could,
Yeah, Ada, the fire station and the senior center are right next door to each other, so that could be a real easy
Right.
fit. One generator runs both.
is Ada looking into that too?
I think they are. I've tried to encourage them.
You say they are, okay. Well, I was thinking the same, that all of them should look into it. I mean, I know money's not growing on trees these days, but.
I think there's grants out there.
Yeah, right.
And even if we get the building plumbed for it, you know, if there is a bad emergency, Marie said that there is money available through the
Yeah.
state.
And there's generators.
Or there's generators
Well,
available.
those were a borrow situation, and by
Sure.
the time they got them here, so it'd be better if they could get
Yeah.
one on
But-
site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
And one more thing, they said though, Red Cross, you know, the Red Cross lady that was there said that it was a 4-county crisis. She talked about the low volunteers. There's not very many Red Cross volunteers in our county and how that complicated anything. But, you know, I was really impressed the way Marie and Miller worked together, and they talked about, you know, the situation, especially since it was Miller's first day of work. But, you know what I really realized is how much our volunteer firemen are critical to disasters in small communities. They really step up.
Yeah.
And, so that was an eye-opening for me to understand that it's not just fires, they come
Right.
for every disaster. So we're thankful for all our firemen, so. All right, I'll let it be at that.
That's
Hi,
it?
Scott.
You're done?
No, I have a few more.
How many?
2.
Okay.
You're worried about me?
I'll let you get away
She's
with
got
it.
5. She's
As
got
long
5.
as it's not,
He's worried about me.
as long as it's not 5 more pages.
No, the long one was the Flint Hills meeting, sorry.
Okay.
He wants me to stop.
No, I didn't necessarily want you to stop. I just wanna know
How long
the
can she talk?
time frame we're gonna have here. All right, Scott. Is it against the law to pray again?
No,
It's never against the
I'm
law.
not afraid.
We
You
can
never
pray.
know. Government might be,
Not in this country yet.
let's pray.
Oh, okay. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for the chance to be together. And Lord, I just pray you give us wisdom on looking through these pages, and that everything we do and say and the decisions we make will be honoring to you. Thank you for this group. Thank you for their desire to pray before their meetings. That is so exciting, Lord. And I just pray now we would have a great day. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay.
So am I on, or
You're
or she?
on.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
shutting her down for a little bit.
I had to laugh. Walked in down the hall, down the basement, or not the basement, but the first level. And I drove around the block once, and I decided, you know what? Accountants are in ruts sometimes because accountants just kind of do the same thing all the time. And so I parked on the south side of the building in the visitors park. That's the first time in 5 years that I've not parked on basically the north side or right out here. So I don't know what's going to happen today. We might.
You have
we
an
might-
extra set of stairs there, Scott.
I know.
Well, now, let's think about this. We might need to cross. My dad said if you ever leave home and forget something, you gotta go back. You sit down in the chair, count to 10 and kick left. So, maybe we should all kick left.
Anyway, I just
Interesting.
we were laughing down. Truett and I were laughing especially. Okay, so what I plan on doing is taking the colored sheets first. There was a bunch of questions that were asked, and Tammy and I presume Jody was involved in that too, and Lauren. They've all done a great job of trying to go through and making sure all the numbers are right and every place. There's a few places for questions, so I was going to try to address those in this colored sheet, and then we'll go to the budget, and then you guys, I'll kind of go through what I saw, and then you all can tell me what else we need to mark up and go from there. So I think the thing it's interesting, one of the questions was where's the cash going, or why is the cash in some cases, seems like it's going down.
Right.
What I did here, I got up early this morning and I was looking at this. If you look at number 1, in lines 16, 17, 18, 19. That is the monthly expenditures in the 2025 year. Okay? So that would have been, and those are audited numbers, I believe. They're at least close to, I don't know if it's finalized, but it's draft. But I don't think there'll be more changes, yeah. So if you look at the general fund for sure, 238,767 was the monthly expenditure in 2025. Then if you just follow that column down, you look at 2020 line 2022 to 2025 and look at each of those lines because they're match up. So general fund is now 424,021 where it was 238 and 25. And I didn't go into the weeds on this. I don't know why it jumped so much, but I'll show you some things that happen when we get to the budget that in that middle column that may be a reason, okay? And then you look at road and bridge was 269, and in the middle column it's 311 average expenditures. You look at employee benefits 138, and the average in the middle column is 216. And then solid waste is 41 and 515. I mean 41, 515, and 47. So every one of those in the middle column, which is it's common for that to happen because these are still budgeted numbers, and we may not expend, all that money. Then if you go down to the line 28 to 31, the monthly expenditures, you can see that again the general fund jumped from 424 to 438. The road and bridge pretty well stayed the same, and actually employee benefits went down just a little bit, and solid waste. So really the general fund's the only one that really changed much in, that would be the budget year. And so what I did is I went over to where I got 2 circled, and I wrote in what the number of months of cash you have after the audit report, basically in 25. So in the general fund, you can see it's fairly healthy, 8.46. I kind of say 3 to 6, but it's at 8.46. If you go down to road and bridge, it's at 2.56, and 2.56 is not bad. I think I've told you this before, the Government Finance Officers of America, they do all kinds of studies on governments all across the United States, and they kind of look at a 3-month. I say 3 to 6 just because of my grandma and grandpa, but they look at 3 months. In 3 months, you're sitting there at 2.56. You look at employee benefits in the end of 25, it's 11.35. So that to me would mean we have a pretty good reserve. And then again, solid waste is 2.56. So at the end of 25, it doesn't look too bad. And then you go down. This is where, because of those expenditures going up, like I showed you in the second column over there, you look at general fund, we are now sitting at 3.36, so we've dropped almost 5 months off, okay? You go to road and bridge, and we drop from 2.56 to 0.73, and then you look at employee benefits, we go from 11.35 to 4.05, and then solid waste 2.56 to 160, and then in the the 27 column, the next one down, line 28 to 31, and I'm not going to repeat all these, but kind of a similar thing. And that's somewhat common. I started doing these other 2 years, the middle column and the 27 or the budget year, in this line item because it was because of Brown County. I'll see them Thursday, but they have really struggled with keeping their cash, where they need to be. I told you it was $6,450 at the end of the year. That was one sixth of 1 day. That's all they had left at the end of the year. But anyway, that kind of gives you, that was a question I think you had. So
Can I ask a question?
yeah, sure.
So, so the 2027, the unencumbered cash balances, those are the cash that we have listed, cash reserves?
Right. So like, how you show all the departments, and then there's a cash number, and I've just circled those. We'll look at those when we go through the
And
budget.
so, before 26, in 2025, they didn't necessarily have a cash reserve number when they did the budget, right?
No, they've had it for probably about at least 5 years, maybe 7 years. I mean, that's what the form has had, but I've always tried to, since they put it on the form, I've always tried to show it. You mean on the budget?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then what happens,
But
I think,
thought that was kind of a change, Tammy, because when you said, well, Carly, you're pushing a cash reserve in there.
yeah,
Remember what I'm saying, when I said I like a cash reserve rather than have the budgets
yeah,
show full expenditure and them knowing
Yeah.
they're only supposed to spend 90%
yeah.
of it.
Right, but the cash reserve is for additional spending, and we don't wanna, and that can raise the mill levy, so when we're
Yeah.
talking, we don't wanna consider that's the rollover necessarily, cause you can always change that number.
Yeah, so it's been that way for 5 to 7 years, and what most clerks do, I can't remember here, is they don't show that number in the budget to actual that goes to each of the department heads.
Right, I don't do that
Okay,
either.
so they'll just show their department budget, okay, if it's a fund by itself, or the general fund does not show that, so that way it's protected. That's why I think the state did that, is to protect the cash carryover and not show it as part, because you're exactly right, Carla, like if the department in a single fund knows that they've got another 500,000 and then that percentage is off, because like it's off by that 500,000 because it looks like they've got that much more to spend when they really don't, that's the cash carryover. But I think most clerks I've worked with on the budgets have it that way.
Yeah, I don't put it into the
Yeah.
budget,
Yep.
I mean, into what they see.
Yeah, and then when the audit report, you'll see that, when you go to each fund in the audit report, you get it, there'll be a line right at the bottom that says cash carryover, and it'll show in the budget, okay, over here to get the budget to where it agrees with budget authority, but it won't show as part of the expenditures, okay?
And I think what we were
Yeah.
kinda talking about was that cash reserve, especially with my township budget.
Yep.
If they have a healthy cash reserve, it raises that mill levy, and that's the easiest thing to go down, so it's
Yeah.
not necessarily their entire cash carryover.
Yeah.
Because that's what raises the mill
Yeah.
levy.
Yeah, the way it used to be, and it was very deceiving, what you usually did, like in the general fund especially, you'd go in and put that cash carryover, like what Carla was saying, in the past forms, you would just go in and put it in capital outlay, or build it into line items, and the cash wasn't a separate number, and then that was kind of misleading to whoever's line items that was in, and if you spent it all, you had no cash. Yeah, okay? But anyway, I think that kind of shows you where and we're gonna look at something else here, this next page that kind of got my attention this morning. But anyway, that kind of shows you what the monthlies are. Then if you go to page 2 of the cover, when we got done dropping all this in, if you look at column O, you see a 1 by it, 84.643. And then if you go down, drop down to the very bottom number there is the revenue neutral rate, 82.576, because that was a question you all had about kind of where we're at with revenue neutral. So right now, the way this budget's prepared, we are 2.067 above revenue neutral. Okay? So that would be at 1 mil, that'd be 107,609. That would be 222,428. You'd be that many dollars above the revenue neutral. Now, this is what's kind of interesting. We talked about this at Pratt last week. We went to and I'll show you how I got the number. If you hold your finger there, or just keep it like it is, and go to your budget that I gave you, that thicker document. Go to the very last page. On the very last page, we did this at Pratt to see if we were in line with where we should have been. If you go to the very last page and you look at the first column, it's total expenditures in this budget, and it's basically the audit report. I didn't circle it, but the first column at the very bottom, where the first double underline is 12,692,188. Do you see that number? First column. It's right next to the circle. It's right next to the circle 83.387. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the expenditures. Now, some of that is transfer. It's not all like cash expenditures, but it's expenditures of the Ottawa County in 2025. That's where I got this number, okay? Then you go back to that colored page and you see that 12,692,188 on the left, kind of the left side there says 2025 total expenditures. Then what I did is I took 4%, just kind of, and that's probably more than what it is, but CPI, Consumer Price Index, was probably, I don't know what it is right now,
2.8.
is it 2.8? So I'm a little higher here, 4%, but I wanted to show you what we saw this at Pratt, and they go, wow. I don't think we think about this. If you take that 12 million times 4%, that's 507,688, okay? Then you take the, excuse me. I see, that's okay. Then you take, maybe I took, let's see, okay, only gaining 223,000. Okay, so even at 84.643, that's a 1 over there. If you go up and look at column P, by getting that mill levy, you're getting about 223,642. It's a number 2 by it, okay? So when you take that number that's been added to the budget because of the mill levy and subtract it off of 4%, we are still sitting with a deficit, roughly, a deficit of 284,046 to keep up with inflation. So now we can back that off if it ends up being 3% or whatever. I'm just showing you because fuel prices, these are 25 expenditures, okay? I noted over at the side, fuel prices in 26, they're at Pratt, for example. Every time that semi pulls on to the Road and Bridge lot, it's about 14,000, with where the prices have been, about 14,000 more than it was the year of 25. So that's about 5 years, 5 months. So if you take 5 months times 14, that's $70,000 that just has been used up with that semi dropping off diesel. So I was just showing, I hadn't really ever done this before like this. Until Pratt, we were just doing numbers and just kind of seeing where we're at. I think I'm going to add this to my sheet because this is a great way, and this is a great explanation to the legislature, because if they're going to stay flat at revenue neutral, okay, with dollars, and you are, even if it's not 507,688, let's just say,
Yeah, but we're also talking 2 years there. From you took 2025, we're
Yeah.
budgeting 2027, so you really have 2 years in there. So the 4% is not high for 2 years.
No, it's not. I just used, I get this question all the time. What are the total expenditures of this county? And you can't really look at 26 and 27, even though this is a 27 budget, because they're not inflated, but they're budget numbers. And this here, if I really wanted to do this calculation, I could take 12,692,188 times this 4%, add the 507,688, and then take it by 4% again.
Yeah, to get to the
to
2027.
get to the 2027. I was just showing you just in 1 year how quick that hole can, and that's why these counties are in trouble. Okay, so if we took, let's just say we took, what we could do is we could just say, we didn't have to do this, we could just say, like you're saying, 4%, even if
Okay,
it's
covers-
2% a
covered 2
year.
years,
Yeah,
yeah.
even if it's 2% a year, you're still sitting in a hole of about 284,000 because of that. And I don't think the legislature understands that.
Well, they
We're
can't.
telling them
I
to
don't- I
allow
mean,
the CPI at the very, or new construction. but
Because see,
CPI.
that's the way we made it through the 2 budget lids I've been through, okay? In late 90s and what that was, 2006, 5, 6, 7, something like that. They would give you all the new improvements, you would come down to a number, and then you would take the consumer price index at that point and multiply it times that number to give you that, at that time, let's just say it was 3% or whatever, to give you that 3% so you could use that. And what some would do, that's where I started using the risk management fund. So when we come down and we make that calculation, let's just say it's 200,000, we would take, a couple of the counties would take 25% of that and put it in risk management. Every time you did that tax lid and that amount that the CPI come on, 25% would go over to risk management, and then the rest would be used for salary, like COLA, employee benefits and all that. they're not even giving you anything like that. That's the problem right now, is we're trying to operate a budget, under locked dollars if you stay at revenue neutral. Does that make sense?
Yeah. there's
This
no-
this really got my attention this morning, just thinking through some of this, because Pratt and I had this we had this conversation last week, just cause we started just seeing, they were setting it. Okay, you went down,
$2 million in it.
you went down 2 million, they went up 9 million, okay, in assessed value. But
But
they're,
we stole 5 of our state assessed.
yeah, and they're still, I mean, it's like I don't know why with you and Pratt, the state PVD, so like, they went down 14 million, another 7 million, so they're down 21 million, now they're back up 9 million, and then if Mesa Pipeline, which I don't know, does Mesa Pipeline go through here? Mesa Pipeline, the state had it wrong this year, but that was gonna add another 14 million to it. So if they'd have built their budget on an incorrect assessment of 14 million, oh my goodness, we would have had all kinds of problems. But the state caught it, and they backed it off because the exemption doesn't run out till the 28 budget. And then the state will probably come in and say, oh, you're exempted for another 10 years. You know, I mean, I don't know where those exemptions are.
I thought we had that discussion about state assess that the pipeline companies determine the allocation per county.
Yeah,
And I brought that up with Ty Masterson.
yeah. What do you say?
And he goes, I don't know if that's true. Or I'll look into it. I shouldn't say it.
Yeah.
He said, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
But
And he's running for governor.
and I said, well, it's probably a technical question. I told him it was a technical question because it doesn't, I mean, most people aren't gonna
So
think
I didn't
about
know,
that.
I've been doing this for like, at that time, when that first came up, I've been doing budgets for 39 years probably. So I called PVD and I said, can you
What do
get me?
you say PVD, what's
It's
that?
Property Valuation Department, the state of Kansas. They're the ones that do the assessment, okay?
They're
Or-
the ones that
so you
watch
turn
over
on-
our appraiser's
yeah,
office?
Yeah,
No.
well,
No.
you turn all your budgets into
I turn all my
them.
budgets into them, state assess comes from them.
Yeah, mhm.
I work very closely with PVD.
So I called up there and I go, oh my goodness, we lost 14 million in Pratt County. So I called up there, I go, who can I talk to? Oh my goodness, I got this guy in the corner, I know it's where he's at, that had been there for 35 years. And all he's done for 35 years is state assess, pipelines. And he schooled me for like 35 minutes on how they come up with it. It's the flow, it's the flow through the pipeline. And that's why my son is an engineer. I mean, that's not why my son, but I've learned on the other side, my son is a head of engineering at Meter Engineering, and all they do is the magnetic flow sensor of all pipelines from 6 inches up to 42 inches, okay? And through that measurement process, that's how the state assesses. God just give me this wisdom through, I call that guy, and then my son's telling me how the pipelines work. And, but that's how they measure. And based on the measure, that's why they're assessed value. If you're pumping more flow through those pipelines, you're gonna have a higher assessment. Because you're
So the
using
state, so you're saying the state does determine it based on flow?
on the flow, that's one of them. Then the other piece that is not right, I think, and we've had that, they fought it quite a bit down there, is the pipeline company, like you said, says, well, this is the assets we've got in Ottawa County. These are the assets we've got in Pratt County. And the way I've understood it is they kind of have a self-regulation of those assets. And see, if the state would allow that on your house, just think about that. I mean, you wouldn't have a county appraiser, and you just turn in a number. Well, I put on a $150,000 addition to my house, but it's only $10,000. You see what I'm saying? If it's self-regulation, and I'm not totally positive on that. That's just the way I've understood talking to the
So the
assessments.
state does part of it, they do the flow calculation.
Well, no, the
state does
state
this.
assess gives them their flow calculation, and then the state sets a rate at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
still the pipeline
we don't know if it's really that much going through there or not.
Rather than trust
But you
it.
do know, the state does the flow though, they do.
No.
their-
No, they just give them a number, it's the way I've understood it. So like, this guy told me that if it was Northern Pipeline, they would say we had, I'm just throwing, I don't know exactly, I don't mean like, we had 10 million barrels flow through our pipelines in the state of Kansas.
Okay,
Okay, and then they go through and see how many, I assume, I'm assuming here that part, I don't remember, this is 4 years ago, so I can't remember exactly. But the flow of how it flows, how much it flows through Ottawa, how much it flows through Pratt, and then they base that assessment on the flow.
they allocate the
Yeah,
flow
yeah.
as well as the valuation.
The way I've understood it, yeah. And the valuation is not regulated, is the way I've
Well,
understood it.
that's what I was trying to, I wanted to make sure I said the right question every
Yeah.
time I asked her something.
Because what happened is, when they questioned it last year, Pratt was pretty upset. They went back to the state assess and to the Northern Pipeline, and Northern goes, oh yeah, we did build a new building in Pratt County.
Slipped our mind.
That's what happened to us 2-3 years ago. They had added a new
Line.
line,
Yeah.
but they didn't put it on for 2 years. And then last year we got 10 million.
Yeah,
We
or
stole
so, it was a big
Pratt's.
number, yeah.
So we stole from Pratt the 10 million.
Well, it's-
They stole back 5 million this year
I
because
mean,
they
it just
talked to the state.
Wrecks the budget. It wrecks
I
everything.
say stole, no one took anything from anybody, it's
It
just
really messes
the
things
way it
up.
all just comes out.
But anyway,
It's ridiculous.
I think that's the bottom of page 2, the colored, kind of gives you an idea of where we're at. And when I think we did it at Pratt, it was about, we used 3% maybe, I don't remember. We took that total number, it was around 600,000, I think, 600, over 600,000. And they were looking at where their rate was, because they had went up 9 million in assess, so it wasn't like they were, when the assess goes up, the revenue neutral goes down. Excuse me. And so I think it's just something I'm gonna start adding on a page, just kind of this calculation based on the CPI, so that you can understand, here's what CPI is, here's where we're at in the mill levy, where we're at on mill levy. If it's at 84, that's 223,000. That's the gap in between that we're how are we gonna fund that? And if we don't fund it because if we're spending 500,000 more than we're taking in, 284,000 more than we're taking in, that's why cash is going like this. See, because you have,
Unless expenses go down, specific expenses. So you're
Absolutely.
taking expenses and you're assuming that we're gonna spend all of those again. So if you can reap some benefits.
yeah. But if you look at that front sheet again, it didn't do that. See, it went, if you look at the total expenditures on line 22 through 25, on the middle column, see how the expenditures went up in most funds quite a bit. I'll show you I just went through real quick and circled the middle column in general fund, just to see what ones changed.
Now, where are the increases at on those
Okay,
line
so
items?
if you look at line 16 through 19, is where the 1 is, and then you
Uh-huh.
look at line 22 through 25, general fund went to 424 on
Oh,
line
this versus
22
that?
versus 238.
Okay.
So it's, I didn't, I could do that. I guess I could go in and show those differences and show you what it cost. But I was just doing this morning when I was looking at this. I think, wow, that kind of shows you where cash is. Okay, let's keep moving here. I've got till 10 here. Okay, page 3. This is something Lauren started with, and Tammy and every clerk. We kind of try to show you what changed. And then when you see a bold number in the actual budget, then you will see what that number is in that 27 column. I'm not gonna go through every one of these. I'm gonna go over to the top of page 4. There was a question, you'll see this when we get to the budget, about the debt service of the hospital. They want to discuss what the miscellaneous 1,500 is. Did we ever figure that out?
That's
No.
that filing fee.
It's a filing
But
fee, I thought it
Gilmore-
was probably.
Gilmore Bell, we have
Yeah.
to pay that,
Yeah.
what do you call it?
Oh, to the state, the
Yeah.
filing to the state.
Yeah,
Oh, you know what I'm saying?
used to be,
There's an
yeah.
acronym for it.
I don't know.
It's with a.
It used to be with the coupons. See, when I started, you used to clip coupons and you send them to the state. but it's that fee
It's a
that
fee.
is that fee that is
That was
processing.
just a question that we had when we got, because we were looking over to make sure all the changes
Yeah.
were made before he
Yeah.
came, and then that was one that it showed up last year, I think, and then we couldn't remember it was
Yeah.
here,
So we'll look at that when we get to the actual fund. I think the only other questions, on page 6, and maybe these got answered. Page 6 at the top, are the motor graders included in contractual R&B fund or road and bridge fund? Can I pull those out? Did those get, I didn't look on those. We'll look when we go to road and bridge,
They're
we'll
in
look.
capital expenditures.
Yeah, so we'll
I
look.
think that's what we
Yeah, they're
Okay.
capital expenditures.
That's what, okay, we'll look at that. And then the next one was just about R&R, and we just talked about kind of where you're at. Then what I did, I'm not gonna go through all these, but I wanted to show you the background of how Lauren and Tammy and Jody. So what you have on page 7 and 8 were questions that you all and Tammy and Jody had. And the reason I did the front one in color because it shows the reds are where Lauren went back and answered them. And then I think on page 9 and 10, these were other questions. So I know,
That in terms of the original email where I responded.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yes, those are the ones I responded to
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, so these are questions Lauren had over on 9 and 10, and then these were questions you had after you looked through it again, I think on 7 and 8, and then it's the answers from each person. I'm not gonna go through all those, I think they all got pretty well addressed. Then what I did on 11 and 12, I was looking at, this would be, the way I understand this would be the jail bond amortization schedule. And so the circled are what's been paid, and then I circled in, it looks like the first call date is 27, isn't that right? Over on the right-hand side? That's where it says call date, that's the first time it shows up. And if you look at the next page, I backed off the interest through 26, what you have paid, the 5,500, 5125, 5125, and then the balance at the end of 26, 220. So that's where you would be starting your 2027 budget year, the 220 and you'd have, so you have to kind of look at this, and we'll look at this when we get on the budget too, of interest rates, where your interest rates are at, you know, and what you will actually, what you're earning and what you're paying. Okay, so we'll talk about that a little bit. Okay, I think that's everything in the colored. So let's go through the actual budget, and I've made notes in it, and then we can go to wherever you want to go after we get done with that. So on your actual budget, the big document, go to circle page 3. Lauren, I think, there towards the end, went back, and Lauren and whoever, I think maybe Amanda's helping with, went back and double checked all these, I think.
You experienced some issues with tying back.
Yeah, tying back and forth. If you see one that's, when you look at it closer, I know Carla, I think, had one last year that we didn't have the same on both places. But you can look through it. If you have any questions, please ask them. Page 4 is the jail bond, and I put a 1 out there, and I just tied it back to the colored pages there to show you. The rate on that is 3 to 4.3, so right now, you're not paying that much interest more than what you're earning. I think Jody's getting around 3.6 to 4. She gets your banker here gives a pretty good rate. Graham County, I don't know if I told you that or not, Graham County called me.
Yeah, I think you did.
And
Go ahead.
I'm trying to work it out next week to go through there, but, that's just a big thing. If the banker doesn't, the banker's not gonna come and tell you,
Is that when you told them that, I do know a little bit about
Yeah,
banks?
we'll see what the banker says.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the other question I had was on the hospital bonds. They'll go a while yet, but their rate is really pretty good because that started in 21. If you look at the rate there, 0.35 to 2.15. So that one's not really bad at all. Go to page 5. These interest rates on the on the lease purchases, we knew that with the grader from 22, 5.22. But then these newer ones too, I mean, that's probably what they are. I don't know, 4.78, 5.42. I think you told me on the sheriff one, there were other things built into that.
Well, so we had made 2 additional payments.
Mm-hmm.
2 additional payments, I think. Well, there were 2 other payments out
Yeah.
there, and we're gonna put them towards the
Yeah.
principal. So
Yeah.
that's what we were still.
Well, I thought you said there was some kind of service. There's also service built into those, or some kind of extra warranty, was it, or what? Maybe not. Okay, I thought there was something there that's why it maybe made the rate a little higher. Maybe that's not a true interest rate. I don't know. 5.42 seems a little high.
That's fine.
Yeah. But anyway, and you see over the right, that's when you get them paid off. So 27 and 28, the graders will be gone, and then you have the dump trucks and.
So the
Sure.
big thing we're struggling with on page 5.
Yep.
And I've sent them to Lauren a few times, it's the leases for the tractors.
Yeah. But they're not lease purchase, are they?
Well, that's what I thought, they are not lease purchase,
Yep.
but we keep
Yep.
talking about putting it on there. But
Well,
I'm with
the
you,
reason-
we're not lease purchases. They're
No,
not
right.
purchases.
These are lease purchases
Yeah,
here.
okay.
Okay, so here's the confusion. The statute says in Kansas, because it did not change, when you have a lease purchase, you have to have a non-appropriation clause in that lease purchase. And the reason you do is because cash basis law. If that non-appropriation clause is not in there and you're purchasing it to own it, you are violating cash basis law. So what happened is GASB, the Government Accounting Standards Board back in Connecticut, sets generally accepted accounting principles across the entire world, but United States. They changed the definition of lease purchase to finance lease. Finance lease is any lease agreement that you have that's more than 12 months. And even though you're not leasing to own, okay? And so in the budget, we don't break these out. Does that make sense? We only break out what you are gonna own. These are lease purchases based on
I
statute.
agree, sorry, I've said it here a few times every time we talk about it, so I wanna make sure.
Well,
that
I have
that's
it here, and I gotta talk to Lauren about that a little bit. Because on the audits, we have to show all those. And where the big ones are, the reason they did this is because it used to be when you purchased software, you purchased it and owned it, okay? Probably, I don't know how many years ago, but this finance lease thing's been going for probably 2 years now. We're on our second. In the audit now, you actually have to show those finance leases as a lease in the table. That's why she was saying the auditor's leases are different than the budget. To make it consistent, we could do that. We could go in and what we could probably do is it right here, maybe put a couple lines there. The state does not give you any guidance on this, okay? But what we could do to keep confusion so that when you look at the audit report, you go, well, we've got 10 leases over here. And some of those for software, as you heard, with whether it's registered deeds or appraiser, those are large dollar amounts, and they're ongoing. They're a finance lease definition. Because you're making payments over more than a 12-month period. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And that's why the state law and generally accepted accounting principles are colliding. The reason it's still called a lease purchase here is because you're owning it, and the state law did not change on a non-appropriation clause. Okay?
Is there a chance it ever will?
Probably not, because
they're,
it's unless cash basis change.
right.
Yeah. And the reason it came in play when I first started, probably about 83 or 84, the first lease purchase I ran into, it just came about at that time was a copy machine at Independence Community College. And that thing was gonna be $40,000 just for one copy machine, okay? And they were gonna purchase it, lease purchase. Well, they didn't have the non-appropriation clause. That's the first time I'd learned it. I was just out of college. And what happened is, if you don't have that in there, then what you have to do is take the full amount of the purchase and apply it as an expenditure, as an encumbrance. So if you take, like, you can see that, if you took a grader and didn't have that non-appropriation clause,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you put 500,000 against your cash balances.
Right.
So that's why the lease purchases, it was put in play. I mean, that's kind of when debt to, even personally, people started, I got my first credit card when I was 81. My dad thought I needed a credit card. He's a banker. He thought I needed a credit card to build my credit rating. So I was in college. He said, don't use it unless you need it.
Spoken from a true banker.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's trying to get debt,
Yeah.
everybody in debt. Anyway, does that make sense? But we could do that if it would help you, is what we could do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We could come down here below the lease purchases, and we could list out the finance leases that you have in your audit report, okay? And we could show the payment, and what it's gonna be, because they are true payments. It's just they're not
Purchase.
purchases, okay? But that's a good point. I mean, I read all that. I'll talk to Lauren. That might be a good way to reconcile the audit report to the budget.
Right.
Does that make
I like it
sense?
for transparency. It's
Yeah.
on black and white. It's in
Yeah,
paper.
absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that'd be a good deal.
Yep, audit report, leases reconciled to budget. Okay. I think that's a great idea. Good question. Okay. I'll put Lauren here so she. Okay, page 6.
I'm looking at that,
Yep.
the motor graders
Yep.
for, the 72 months, and we must only have a small payment due in 28. Because when you look at that, we're paying
Uh-huh.
121,
Yeah,
it's
120,
5%
yeah, that's
interest.
right. And
We
maybe
must
it,
have a very small payment in 28.
maybe that date isn't right either, 12/5/22, but I think that's right, because it was the last, I remember, I just went blank, one of the commissioners,
Dee Dee
Dee
wanted to pay
Dee.
them
Dee,
off.
huh?
She wanted to pay
Oh
them
my
off.
goodness, yeah, we
Mhm.
had that we had that
Yeah.
conversation a bunch, yeah,
No kid.
yeah.
But when you take the 5%
Yeah,
times
you're
that
right.
224, it's only $11,000
Yeah.
interest, so
Yeah.
that 121 is only 11,000, so that's 110 against the principal.
Yeah,
And then the next year, seems like,
it could be, it's kind of interesting that the top one is 60 months and the bottom one is 72. I mean, the next one down is 72. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's a 60 and not a 72, and that would make sense because the payment would be in December.
yeah.
The last payment
Yeah,
would be in
that-
December.
It looks like that, and just looking at it, it should pay off the end of
Yep,
2027
Yep,
too.
absolutely.
Do you wanna check that?
Yeah, I've got a question mark. I don't know that it really matters a lot, but it.
Well, it does from a cash flow for road and bridge, because we
Yes.
have those big,
You have the dump trucks, all
the
that
dump
other
trucks,
come on,
yeah,
yes.
so we have that 500,000
Yep.
every year,
Mhm.
so. Or 300,000.
We'll check it out. Right date, I'll just put right
Yeah, either the
date.
contract terms,
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's keep going here, cause I can keep you on time, on schedule. Page 6, the only adjustment we made in receipts is there was conversation about maybe putting the sales tax up to $425, so we did that on both, and that picks up $50,000 in the two columns, okay? Then what I did is I just for my own mind, I went down and where the bold numbers, 21,000, 62,000, 7,300, 41, those are the funds that we closed into the general fund at the end of 26, and those are the cash balance, or projected cash balances that will come into the general fund. And you can see what the total is down below there, 132,539, because those funds will be closed out. Page 7, circled the cash balance. We've already looked at cash balances. Then what I did on page 8, I go, how can that monthly expenditure in the middle column be so much more than in the 25 column? So here's what it is. I went down and circled in the middle column the total expenditures in each department. If it was over probably $10,000, okay? So you can see, if you look at the attorney, county attorney, 179. You go down to county clerk, 122, and these are all explained. I was just trying to figure out how we got to a higher monthly expenditure. Courthouse, 425.
Well, that county commissioners, were we supposed to keep that flat? Oh, we added the county counselor, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So the county attorney should have gone down that 22,000.
Yeah, I
That
don't,
contractual.
I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, so I think that's contractual's overstated in the county attorney.
Okay,
Because
so if you
that
can
should
look
be a
that,
swap.
if you could kind of verify that, I'm just gonna put,
You remember that?
It looks right, so I'll just verify it right now.
Remember,
While he goes through the rest here.
yeah,
yeah.
that contractual, that we
Yep.
I
added,
believe it was already taken.
We just moved it.
because otherwise the commissioners were gonna stay flat. So
So
that
I just-
15,000 should come out of the county
of both
attorney
years.
contractual.
If that's what you're saying is right, it would come out of both years.
Well-
2026, you guys didn't talk about doing that in 26. It's just 2027,
Yeah,
and
Oh, okay.
so I
his
think,
ending should be,
so I think you need to take 15 out of county
no,
attorney.
it is correct, and already taken out, 179,200 is without,
Is the right amount?
is the right amount.
Okay.
Well, that can't,
But that may be in all they spent in 25, see? You know, you maybe didn't use there may be other contractual, I don't know. Let's just keep going and then we'll go back and research it, okay? Cause I wanted to, the only reason I did this is cause I was trying to figure out why the monthly expenditures went up so much in the middle column, in the general fund.
Okay.
So if you look county clerks a little bit, courthouse, 425,900, that's a fairly significant one, and that's in contractual. You go to registered deeds, that's up a little bit, middle column. County treasurer is up a little bit, and I thought that one, I was
now what are
thinking,
you looking at, I'm sorry?
my circled number in the
Right.
total expenditures, I'm looking at that, comparing it to the total expenditures of that department in 25. So all I'm,
26 to 25,
yeah, all I'm,
25 to
yeah,
26.
yeah, all I'm doing is looking at the left there to see how much more it went up. And that's why I circled it. So like county treasurer is 143 and it was 102. Emergency management, I think there was some extra stuff done there, but 112 to 55. When I started doing this, I see why, okay? Because each of these lines, if you go to next page, computer processing, 164 to 131. Clerk district court wasn't much, 75 to 64. Human resources, 67 to 49. This one here was a fairly significant jump, the hospital maintenance ambulance, and that was because it's based on 6 meals.
6 mils supposed to be added, oh yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
27,
and
never mind.
26,
6 mils, 6
yeah.
mils.
And then in 27, you added some extra, I think. So there, you know, if you look at both those lines and you've got 30, that's 60,000 right there in those two, roughly. Then you go to insurance went up a little bit. County coroner is 45 and they only spent 24, but I think 45 is the contract, isn't it? It's been that way for
Yeah.
quite a while. Then, this is what got my attention, this is why it happened. I forgot 26 was the year law enforcement come back into general. So if you look at that A and A right there between election, we brought the election fund in, we brought the law enforcement back into general, and I put an A by it. That's why the monthlies jumped so much, is because of 1.7 million coming from other funds into this fund. And I didn't go through and make all the calculations. If we just see what that was compared to the other ones that went up, I had just started through, you know, just trying to, I think that kind of gives you a good feel for where you're at in 26. And then what I had Sesha do down at Pratt is she went through and verified in all the funds, the receipts coming in of where you're at to date. I think you have that on a report, don't you, budget to actual? And then she went through and looked at all of the funds of budget to actual expenditures to see, and that's what you give out every month, I think, isn't it? But that's it, and you all get that, I think, too. But she just went back and kind of looked at that to make sure, because we had some questions on the thing, when you get this close to where you're at, if you overestimate the receipts, like in the health department or, not just any of those, you know, and you build a budget on that, and they, like you were saying earlier, if they spend that budget based on whatever that receipt is, that can cause some challenges. So because we had a couple of problems there. What had happened, they still have freedom claims, okay? In the middle column, it didn't look right. I go, this receipt, there's no way. The auditor's showing 39,000 in freedom claims, the employee benefits, as the employee contribution coming back out of their check. It was like 39,000. The middle column and the 87 column, we caught the 87, but we didn't catch the middle, was 412,000. So the amount of receipt in the employee benefit fund that was wrong was the difference between 412,000 and 39,000. And they had built their budget based on the 412,000. So we caught it. I mean, but that was a change, because what happened, they used to have, and these are things you just have to look at when the budgets change. The Council on Aging had their bus program, all that, in the general fund as a reimbursement on all their salaries. So that reimbursement was based on the salaries of all those bus drivers and that's why it was overstated. But 2 years ago, we transferred it into its own fund so we could manage it. So the elderly is in its own, kind of like you've got. You have the elderly in the own fund so you can manage it. And we didn't take the employees' reimbursement part out. You see what I'm saying? That can happen a lot, so we have to be careful. Okay, page 11.
Real quick, I can answer the
Yep,
question
okay.
for Commissioner Grant real fast.
Okay.
So the original county attorney amount that he requested was 194,200, which would have been a flat budget. If you take the 194,200 minus 15,000, it comes out to the 179,200, which is the correct amount that is in the budget.
So you did take it out of 2026 as well? Because it says it's flat.
I'm just talking about 27, I'm looking at that. It looks like they must have already taken out of 26 to keep it flat, but I wasn't part of that.
I think we did take it out of 26.
Yeah, because it wasn't utilizing it anyway.
If you took it out of 26.
I didn't do this budget. I'm just talking about, yes, in 2027, it's correct, the 179,200 is a flat budget
Yeah.
minus the 15,000.
Yeah.
So originally it would have been 194,200.
Yeah.
So they must have taken out of 26.
I'm pretty sure we took it out 2 years ago. I mean, because what happened there,
I bet you guys just took it out completely.
If
when
you
I-
took it out though, you should have put it back in the commissioner side.
The
Back
15,000?
In 2026, and are you just assuming we're not gonna use it in 2026? Because if you took it out of the county attorney, you did
Yep.
not put it back into the commissioner.
in 26, yeah,
Yes.
I don't know. I'd have to
So
look
is the
back.
intent that we're not gonna use it in 26, so you just took it out?
I didn't do anything.
I'd have to look back, I'm not sure.
I can't
I'm
answer
looking at
that.
you
I didn't build.
I
it.
don't-
I would
can't
have
answer.
expected to see it in and out in
Yeah.
both years.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I'll look it up. I'll figure it out.
if we don't have any intent of spending it in 26.
Okay,
Okay.
let's keep moving here. And now I've got a note by it. County council, okay. One more thing here for Lauren. Did we take it out in 2026 or? I think at the time, I'm just doing this off the top of my head, but we'll find it. At the time, the commission, I think it came out in 25. Okay, that's when, because what happened is the first budget I did here was, let's see, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I think 23 was the first budget I did here, 5 years ago. And what was the name of the county attorney? I can't think of his name right now. Just
Richard.
Richard. So Richard was here when we split it out to have a county councilor line item,
Yeah,
okay? And then that, for 1 year, that was kind of a challenge, I think.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So we had the 15 in that county councilor line item. If I'm just doing this off the top of my head, and I'll have to go back and dig through it, but I'm almost sure that 2025 budget was the year we took that out and put it back to the county attorney's budget.
It does show that in the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
year's budget.
Yeah, yeah.
But that happened in 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I just remember that because of Richard. He wanted to set I don't remember exactly how it happened, and then we
Well-
got to it, and oh my goodness.
Some things are better left
And
unsaid,
you'll be,
probably.
and I noticed there's a few other changes, I know Lauren didn't quite understand some of the email stuff,
Yeah.
like I just looked at the registered deeds one,
Yeah.
it's not right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we
Tweak
better
those.
I'll call her this week
Yeah.
on that email on page 7.
And see, those are things, by July 20th, you all know this, by July 20th, we have to know where our rate is.
Right.
Probably those little ones like that are things, are not gonna change anything. We can adjust those, clear up until the budget's finalized after the hearing. But I made a note here, but I'm pretty sure it was 25 when it got changed.
Yeah, and then they just moved that 15,000 from
Yeah.
attorney to, but it is out of the.
And I
attorney.
don't think at that time, they had intention of adding it to the county commission budget, because they weren't gonna have a county counselor. At that point, it was the county, the new county, what's a new county attorney?
Jeff Eagle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was something, they were just gonna use that, but now you've kinda decided that you need a county counselor, is that right? For 27 especially?
Yes.
We have
We're-
to have them, but we have to use outside counsel.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
pay
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. So that's what happened there. Okay, let's go to, we talked about 11.
But
Whoop.
I guess I have a question about 11.
Okay.
We still have that debt. We're just using the non-budgeted fund to fund it, but we still have the debt. Why are we, I don't understand that one.
Hold on.
We agreed we were gonna use the law enforcement fund to fund it?
Yeah, so that's what, I think in the notes that Tammy and Lauren had, Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, it looked like it was gonna be closed out here and actually put in the law enforcement trust fund to pay it, or the
Well,
capital,
we're using the non-budgeted law enforcement improvement.
yeah, improvement fund to pay it.
But, it still is,
Well, it's only can be paid one place, so if it's not gonna be paid in the debt service fund, then it will be paid in the law enforcement.
so if it's not gonna be paid by an appropriation, it should not be here. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Okay, let me look here.
It's still gonna be.
Okay, on
paid.
page 5 of the colored document, the other stapled document, page 5, if you look at the bottom of that page, it says, or not quite the bottom, it says Jail Series 2018 principal, Jail Series 2018 interest, and it shows at the very right, it says debt for new jail is coming out of here for 2027, and that's where they've shown the 30,000 and the 873. So the 27 is no longer showed in a debt service fund, but it's shown in the law enforcement trust fund. And that's pretty common, not with that, I don't have another jail like that, but that happens in a city a lot, where the debt will not be paid out of the debt service fund, it'll be paid directly out, whether it's a utility fund or a street fund or whatever, you'll see that quite a bit. Is that what your question is?
Yeah, I guess, we still have the debt.
Yeah, but the way the state law is set up, you can either, it goes both ways. You can have it all in the debt fund, because usually what happens when it's in the debt fund, it's paid by a mill levy.
By an appropriation.
Yeah, yeah,
levy.
by mill levy. If it's over in the like in a city, if it's over in the utility, that revenue there pays it. So what happens is, it's a lot of work. Some cities will transfer all
From the
those
utility,
monies
yeah.
over to the debt service and pay it there.
Uh-huh.
This is really what you're doing here. You're taking it from the debt service back to the law enforcement center.
Yeah, I'm just not thinking from us. the debt is still there, I guess you kind of question it, especially.
It's
this-
up front.
This
There's-
1 year, because
Mhm.
we're zeroing it out, the debt is still listed, and you don't see a payment on the law enforcement fund yet.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep. We'll get to that, yep. But that's what it is. What, and it literally, you just tell me where you want it. If you want it back in the debt service fund, we can put it back in the
I
debt
mean,
service
to
fund.
make that transfer, then you'd make the transfer from the non-budgeted there? That's the only way you would do it, so that you wouldn't do a get into the mill levy, you'd have to have a transfer from the non-budgeted fund.
Yeah, yeah.
But do you think that's better disclosure or tying to?
I don't,
I guess I'm
if
sitting-
it's coming out, let's get back there and I'll show you, I think it's pretty disclosed. I mean, I'll show you where it's at. Okay, page 13. The only questions I had here was I was trying again to figure out why the road and bridge fund went from 25, and it kind of went down a little bit, 26, 27. So a couple questions I had here is on commodities, 1187 and 1193, and we spent 862. I couldn't remember, were you doing more chip and seal, or were you doing more?
No, well, stockpiling, I
Oh,
think.
stockpiles from the road.
Yeah,
And couldn't remember here, because these all run together, are you fully staffed? Because you see the 995 in the salaries, 995, 194, and we're budgeting 1,200,000, 1,200,000, so that's about 400,000 in those 2 years more. I assume that's for COLA or,
COLA, everyone tried to stay as flat as they could, so
Yep, sure.
it was very
Yeah.
difficult, but I think that he does have some openings.
Yeah.
He's just a
So-
there's a couple.
the reason I asked that, because Pratt, they have it looks like the fund spent quite a bit more in 26, 27, but they're 8 people down. And we didn't change the line item. See, so you have some, you have some ability to pay extra things. I just don't wanna overstate it,
Right.
You were worried we overstated what?
the salaries.
Salaries.
In what year?
And if you look at 25, it's 995,
Right.
194. Then you have 1,200,000, 1,200,000. I just wanted to make sure the 26 column and the 27 column in salaries is where it should be.
Okay, so I think the 25 and 26 is probably a little high, but,
Yeah, it's
but, and so the 27 being flat, I'm okay with, based
Yeah.
on a 5% increase
Yep.
on those
Perfect.
lines.
Yeah, because what I tell people is like Pratt, if we actually took those 8 people out, that would be a disaster, if they're ever wanting to get back to that. Because if you take it out,
And you have
and
to-
down the road, you've got to levy that again to be able to get there. So I'm just asking, I'm not. And then cash is circled at 193,091, okay. Debt service in the hospital, page 14. We're about at 10 o'clock here, so I want to keep moving here. Cash, I just circled cash in every one of these funds. The 1,500, we've already talked about, that's the fee, so I'm not worried about it. Cash looks good there. Special bridge, I'm not worried about that. That's one of those where it's all in construction costs and there's no cash. That really doesn't probably matter either. Page 15, I didn't see anything really outstanding with noxious weed or services for aging cash. County health cash looked good with the same mill levy. Page 17, election was moved to general. The building was set at 1 mil, so those look good. Page 18, historical collection was moved to general to be an appropriation. Appraiser had cash reserve of 40. He did get, I don't know, Truett, he did get the levy, the bottom number there, the 134,270 is about 30, almost 40,000 less than the middle column up there on his ad valorem tax. So if you go the second line down, middle column is
What
173.9.
page are you on?
Page 18.
Okay, I'm sorry,
On the bottom.
Yeah.
I went too far. Okay, go ahead.
Yep, so I was just looking, his levy in 27 is 134,270, and if you look at the second line from the top in his fund, the middle column is 173,978, and the first column second line down is 152,686. So we dropped him about 40,000 in his levy, but it looks like it looks like he has quite a bit of cash. If you look at the cash starting 25, 87,272. You go at the bottom of 25, it's 98, almost 99,000. So he still has 40 that's circled there. That's why the levy was adjusted, I believe.
We did that on purpose.
Yeah. Page 19, employee benefits, circled to cash. The levy is about the same as last year, so I'm not worried. And then I didn't write this on here, but sheriff was moved to general. So you knew that, okay? Then we get, those are the levy funds. Then we get to non-levy funds, and I didn't really have any questions, but I think one of the questions, let's just keep moving here, page, you go to page, no, oh yeah, okay, law enforcement on page 23 is different than what we're talking about earlier on the law enforcement capital outlay. Let's keep moving. I was looking here to see if there's anything else. I didn't see anything this morning. Okay, so if you go to page 25, this fund would not have to be probably a budgeted fund, but we did that up at the top. See all the bold numbers on page 25?
Yeah.
We show the transfer from the sheriff fund. We show the transfer from the law enforcement center, and we show contractual, and then the two lines there, the jail series principal is shown in the 27 year, the 30,000 and the
Oh,
870.
you moved it from a non-budgeted to a no levy fund. So
That's
you could
right,
show
just
what
like
that was.
utility, so you could show how it's paid,
Okay.
and that's very transparent to me.
Yeah, I didn't like it buried in the non-budgeted
Yep,
funds.
yep,
So you made that move.
yep. So to me, that seems very transparent.
Yeah, I was just thinking the
Yeah.
debt doesn't
Yep.
show.
I think the rest of them are just the non-budget funds. I didn't have any other questions, so the discussion you'll all have to be is, I think this, it may not be the exact number, but if you go back, if I was looking at this as a commissioner, if I go back to page 2 on the colored sheets, page 2, and look at that little calculation down at the bottom, that kind of gives you a kind of a frame of where R&R is and where you're at with 84.643. And then kind of where you want to set, whether it's CPI or it's your increases from 25 to 26, 27, because you don't want to, like you were asking, I think, you don't want to lose cash. You want to try to, as best as possible, keep your cash there and not go in the hole.
Can I ask you one quick
Yep.
question on your advice with, the current talk about property tax relief and what your advice would be, especially looking at a 10-year, outlook?
10-year.
Because you can't just look year to year, you really gotta look out.
We might wanna think about 5 instead of 10.
But, I mean, that is my other concern.
Okay, let me answer.
Trying to make him have a heart attack?
Let me answer it this way. So we have a new commissioner in Brown. He's come into this, what I call a challenge, I'll call it a
Mess.
challenge. I'll call it a challenge. But he ran an electrical contractor business in California and moved back here to actually, he bought land. He's done well, I think. He's bought land, and he's really good at thinking about exactly, see, I've never taken it from what I show cash here, but we're looking at a way to project it 3 to 5 years out. I haven't got it developed yet, but 3 to 5 years out of what the impact will be if they do some of these things, like if they put a 3% cap on your assessed value. Okay, or if they say you can't raise, kind of back to the tax lid days, you can't raise it more than the CPI. Okay, what's the long-term impact based on, let's just say in 3 to 5 years, this is what the CPI is going to be, just estimated. Let's just say it's 3% across 5 years, and start doing some calculations to see where you will be based on where you're at now. Do you see what I'm saying? I can't really answer that what your question is, of 5 to 10 years.
I guess would your advice be to attempt to go revenue neutral, or do you think that would be?
I'm totally against revenue neutral.
I'm with you on
But
that
you
because
can,
it's a
but you can
CPI
just,
or
you can just,
Well, I think they ought to have to sit in on these meetings.
Yeah.
Some of those senators and those people that are.
and I don't wanna increase people's taxes. I don't wanna increase people's taxes, but I think if they looked at that page 2 that you're looking at right there, cause they know what's happening at home. It's exactly the same as at home. You know, Walmart, you go to Walmart, it's more. I go buy my.
Everything is.
Yeah, and if your responsibility as commission is to have a fiduciary duty over the budget to help citizens. But if citizens are really looking at these numbers like they do at home, that page 2 shows you there's a gap there. And if that's what happened at Brown County, that gap stayed for 7 years. And that's how, it was 14 mills down from where they should have been to cover expenditures. So that's why their cash just went like this. And that's what we're trying to guard against. We're not trying to raise taxes out, into the atmosphere, but we're trying to guard against what happened at Brown County, of going like this. And cities are not like counties. I'll just end with this. Cities have utility funds, which you were at Marysville. I assume they had electric?
No, they did not.
They didn't. Any city that has electric shouldn't
a
worry about R&R.
They have black squirrels there.
Yeah, they do have black schools.
Should be worth some money.
Yeah.
But you don't have another revenue source. Now, there is one. I took over a new county this year, Sumner. Their jail is amazing, okay? But it could end like yours in one time. They got a new contract with the federal marshal, and he is generating $2.4 million in jail fees. That jail has 185 beds, and he's only using like 85. So the commission come up with this. I'm just working there, but one of the commissioners loves budgeting. I mean, each commission has a budget, one that wants to work on budgets.
Each commission has one.
Yeah, they do. No, they do. And it's a good thing
There's nothing wrong with
because
that.
there's nothing wrong with that. But he's come up with a 3-tier approach. So you get this extra revenue, and you put the first tier is to fix the jail. See, what was happening was
That
they
makes
had an
sense.
AC went out, and all of a sudden they have 500,000 they got to come up with. So that 2.4 million should be set aside to fix the jail, 500,000. Then the next level was 500,000 on other county buildings, and the third one was for something else. And then what they're looking at doing is so that it just doesn't go to waste. That sheriff is allowed. They have quite a conversation. But what they're doing is the rest of that 2.4 million, instead of just going in to reduce the mill levy, it goes in to provide for employees. And the sheriff wanted to do that countywide, not just for the sheriff. And it really will be amazing when this is done, but that could end at
At
any
any
point.
moment.
Well, so, that you're saying their net income after expenses was 2.5 million? It brought in
No,
net
what was,
revenue?
2.4 right now with 85 beds. And he's got 185 beds.
That's net income after expense, clear.
No, that's the gross.
That's the
But what
gross.
they were doing was, he just said, I'm not gonna do this if you guys don't use this right. That's why that one commissioner came up with the tier, because what they were doing, they were taking the 2.4, at that time is 1.5 million, and they were dropping the general fund and then reducing the mill levy.
Yeah,
And see, that's a dangerous spot to be in,
Because
because
it
if that contract ends,
could go away.
all of a sudden, you've gotta come back with the mill levy. So it happens in different ways. Lynn County happened last year that way. They got about 1.5 million coming to jail, and they're using it for mill levy, there.
Scott, what county was that you were quoting first?
Sumner County.
Sumner?
Yeah, Sumner, Wellington, Kansas. Yeah.
I don't see on page 19 the transferred noxious weeds on the benefit side.
Mhm.
Did you say some of them might not have got done, Tammy?
Yeah, there's some stuff that we sent on emails that,
What page?
So, on
19.
page.
Circled 19?
I'm 19, you're 19, yeah. So I don't see, remember we talked, did you get that done for 2025, Tammy, with the auditor or not?
Well,
Yes,
benefit-
the auditor, yes, but not the 2026
I
yet.
think
because
you're
we
on
always
the-
saw
I think
audit.
you're on
But
the-
I'm-
I
but
think-
I'm the 2025,
Where are you
So
going?
you're talking about, what she's talking about is the cash in from noxious weed.
Yeah, but we're not on, this is
well, it should come out of this.
employee benefits.
Yeah.
I know, we're taking all the
Oh,
employee benefits
oh,
of the
oh,
noxious
oh,
weed.
oh, okay.
So we should see a transfer from this to this noxious weed.
No, you're not transferring anything out of employee benefits to noxious weed.
You're
You're
paying it out of,
transferring an expense
Paying-
out.
no, you're paying it out of
You're
noxious weeds, the way I
transferring
understood.
expense from benefits into noxious weed.
No,
No,
From noxious weed to benefits.
yes.
no,
No, from benefits to noxious weed. Benefits accumulates everything that's paid on the payroll. And at the end of the year, she's gonna reduce expenses and post it to noxious weed expenses.
Right. So we're not
Right.
taking anything,
So you want to, so you will reduce expenses in the employee benefits fund and add expenses to the noxious weed fund.
and you're saying that reduction is not shown in this?
Well, I would assume there would be a transfer for that.
we'll have to
And-
ask Jody, I don't know.
And I'm not sure that that is included in the 25 and 26 amounts.
Okay, well, let's write that down, ask Jody and make sure we don't let it slip.
Well, she knows, we know to do that, so 25 the auditor did, we can't do 26 until the journal entry.
Wait, let me see, so 25, they said
They did it with the auditor.
they did the transfer, and do you know how much that was?
No.
Okay, and then 26 we're
We'll
gonna
do a
do.
journal entry, so
Right.
that's not done yet, so that. he's
Right,
not-
but that will be reflected in this, it should be reflected in this.
I don't know. I don't know if it will or won't.
Yeah, we can.
I think
We
that's
can-
the
we
clear
can-
way to do it.
Yeah, we can tie it to that. I
I
did
think
not,
that will reduce our employee benefits expense, our levy there.
it's not gonna be by a lot, cause we
Well, it's
only got,
$37,000 in 26 and $37,000 and,
okay.
so it's $74,000.
Okay. So that's not a mill, but pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, that was our reason for doing it. Actually, in 25, if we did it in 25, I can't tell if 64 includes it or not.
What I'm trying to say is, I don't know, I'd have to look at the employee benefits it's already including in that, it may already include that. You just
But-
may not see it, but I think we reduced the expenditures and employee benefits down to reflect that. Cause if you look health and dental insurance, I mean, that went down 5,000.
Here's what I think happened, but it's not as transparent maybe as you want it. If you look on page 15, salaries line went from 64,000 to 137,000 in 27. Now, some of that, is there like a part-time employee, or
Yeah.
is that all employee benefits? See what I'm think?
The salary,
Yeah. See, cause you're going from 64,000 to 137, that's not one employee. See, I think what had happened is it probably just got put in that line item, so
Oh, yes.
we could break it out and show employee benefits if you want to.
I
Most-
don't think, but see, when I look at the budget in 2026,
Mm-hmm,
I don't see a $37,000 reduction
mm-hmm.
in expenses, and I don't see,
A $37,000 expense reduction in where? Employee benefits?
in the employee
and
benefit
you
side.
probably don't, because you guys just discussed doing that, and we've not done it yet. So 2026 is just the budgeted amounts, and so he's basing his numbers off are budgeted, and we've not done it yet.
I know, but
So-
we've done it for 25, we should, it should be a separate
It's
line item.
it's an easy fix.
Yes.
It's really not.
But I don't
yeah.
think it's included in here.
It's included in I think it's included on noxious weed
But I don't
and
think
the
we're getting,
salaries.
but I don't think we're getting the benefit on the employee benefits.
I have no idea. That's a Jody question, because what I'm guessing is we did probably make it as a separate line.
Well, and the issue we had come up with you guys creating separate lines, and it causes issues on my end with funds and everything like that, because then we start having, when I have to do transfers and journal entries, and all of a sudden.
But it's a transfer, it needs to be in the transfer schedule. I know what you're saying, but it should be on the schedule.
But
It's not really a transfer though, because I understood, I thought you were taking paying the expenditure out of this noxious weed, or you're thinking you take a
You're
transfer?
paying the benefits.
See, I don't
out
know
of
if that's,
noxious
I don't know
weed.
if that's an allowed transfer from noxious weed to employee benefits. I think that's why
You're gonna make it a journal entry?
we'll just have to,
Well,
it's a reimbursement.
yeah, it's
Let's talk to
reimbursement,
Jody.
yeah.
It's a reimbursement, we've already talked with the auditor, and that's
Yeah.
what we're trying to say, and creating more line items isn't, it causes more confusion.
So if you look at employee benefits, what I'm guessing, I'm just guessing now, but if you look at employee benefits, see that $40,000 in the first column of receipts up there on employee benefits? You see the 40? On page 19. You go to the first column, 25. The auditor made an adjustment, is what I'm guessing, that there was a reimbursement of $40,000.
That's where it is right there.
Yep. And so it went in as a receipt, and that reduces it gives more cash to employee benefits and doesn't use up the cash. And then what I think happened over on 15 is in 26 and 27, it's probably added that line. I'm not sure that's right, you know, that 90,000, then it goes to 137, because see, that's 40,000, roughly more, a little more than 40,000. So we just need to talk to Jody and see where it's at. But the auditor made a journal entry, and that's where that 40, I'm guessing that reimbursement on page 19 for 40,000 in the first column is the auditor's adjustment in 25 to get the employee benefits paid out of there.
That transfer from noxious weed capital outlay 40,000 on
Yep.
page 15,
Yep.
and then that reimbursement on page 19 for
Yep.
40,000.
Yep.
Smile.
I'm looking.
You need to smile.
Anyway, you guys gotta get on with your meeting. Well,
But shouldn't we also have that going in? That's.
yeah, I just don't think it was handled that way. We're gonna figure it out. We'll talk to Jody.
Jody.
I think what looks like happened is in 26 and 27, it was added to the salary. It's paid out of, potentially paid out of, shown in here, paid out of the salary line of the noxious weed. Where the auditor in 25 showed it as a reimbursement to the employee benefit. So all we have to do is go in and reduce the noxious weed amount and change it to a reimbursement and put it in that 40, it just goes straight across. See, this is exactly what I told you earlier. You gotta make sure that reimbursement's right. Remember the 412,000 at Pratt? We were getting reimbursed and now we're not getting reimbursed. We had to change it. And this is opposite. We got 40,000 shown by the auditor, and we just have to change the 26 and 25, but we don't want to take it out of both funds. I think what's happening now is it's also taken out or shown as an expenditure in the noxious weed fund.
So, yeah.
I mean, the way the
Find out
budget show,
from-
I'm not saying that's right, I'm just saying that's the way Lauren added it to
Okay,
that.
Dwayne,
Salary.
Dwayne has to leave.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, I'm gonna go put my fair hat on and we're gonna go get.
Oh, is it fair today?
Inspection.
Well, we're gonna get the colonel
For the
certified,
equipment.
ready to run.
Oh, look
The
at you.
inspector is here,
Oh,
Boy,
boy.
it's not fair. The inspector's coming.
yeah,
He has to be there when they inspect the stuff.
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Did I know that?
Yeah, I
Did we
tried to
talk
tell you
about it
3
last-
times.
Did we talk about it last?
No,
Right here,
We were
we're
here
just
last
walking
week.
through it.
Oh, absolutely,
I think you might,
absolutely.
good to see you, my
Yeah,
friend.
so you, okay, I'm gonna.
I'll
let
be
you-
down.
Thanks for the questions, that's good. It's all
I'll be
good.
down.
Thank you so much. Will we send notifications?
All right, I hope it goes well.
Yes,
Yeah, or, yeah.
hope we don't have to overhaul
Maybe,
anything.
maybe not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
I'll be down and see you, Scott.
Oh, what?
I'll be down and see you sometime.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I gotta come down there and check out part of the group that's marrying into our family.
Oh, oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll make some of these changes, you know, clarifications, and then we'll just determine if I need to come back and have another meeting or if we just
So
adjust.
I had circled on my calendar that we were gonna have a meeting on the 9th.
No, that was in case we needed to move, if we needed the audited numbers,
Yeah,
we need to do the 9th.
So we're not doing that meeting on
No.
the 9th.
yeah.
Okay.
That was just in
Alright.
case he couldn't do it because
Yeah.
we chose to go ahead and do it
Have
ahead
a-
of time.
Safe trip.
I will.
So,
Fri-
so our publishing date is, so we have to
No,
have
not, the R&R date is 2020. I mean, I'm sorry,
7/20.
7/20. But you should have it done for then.
That's the
Okay.
day that you have to notify me if you guys
Yeah.
are gonna exceed our.
Yeah.
Come on on, Chris.
Chris. Hot seat, it's right there.
Yeah, I've been answering Steve.
Okay.
Come here
Thank
for-
you,
come here for
and
just a
we'll keep
second.
plugging away, okay?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Come here. So this road, this is 80th and Treaty. It goes to Horseshoe. You know where Barry Nelson lives, so north of him. So that road goes in and around Horseshoe.
Dead ends.
Right, but it's a county road back so far.
It follows the river once you get so far down there.
Yeah.
Corman's farm.
No, Nelson's, all Nelson's and Peters. And so there's been some activity there. One of the farmers went in there and put all that dirt in there and that name right there. And it shouldn't be that way, I don't think. And that's a county road that he just did that to.
Did he
So-
clog the ditch?
Well, no, there was a little bit of a washout there, but
Oh,
he's
he was trying to
he's
fill out
dammed
a
up
wash.
against the river here, so I don't know. They're mad, Nelson's are, so I gave him your phone number.
That gentleman today sometime or tomorrow, so.
Okay, I gave him your phone number.
Okay.
And then the Indian Lookout,
Going up the hill.
I wonder if we had not closed that.
I can. I know.
I mean, they could go through there
Don was
themselves.
supposed to try to get up there today with
Mhm.
some materials, so.
Well, if he gets it,
I'll
that's
follow
fine.
up. We'll throw some stuff up on it.
No problem.
Well, I had a video sent to me from about 250th,
Yep.
and they said that they can't have two cars go through at the same time, cause it's all washed out.
Huh.
And I think we talked about this,
Mhm.
we met with.
Yeah, every time it rains, they send me a video.
Did they
That
send
one
it
right
to
there by
you?
Bill Whitman's,
Going
or used to be.
north on 18, off of 18.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I drove by there, but I actually was down that road just the other day. It's not as bad as this.
On that ditch side?
Yeah, well, that's the
Well,
road.
he was just showing that, he just said that two cars can't pass.
Well, true facts, and two cars can't pass on a lot of roads in this county right now, and they're doing everything they can to get to them. We're in a mess,
I know.
terribly.
I guess the hard thing,
Just tell them we'll have to do the best we can to get there, but I mean, if I jumped up and down on all my roads, I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but there's no way in the next 2 months that they're gonna get all this fixed. I just wanna make it clear to everybody,
We
we're
have
in deep
extra
trouble.
blade guys.
Yeah,
blading in
and
some of
they're
these
not gonna be able,
territories.
and they're not gonna be able to fix it, some of them. The blade-
Some of it it's gone.
Yeah,
Like, we just
yeah.
have to get materials in
And so
there and
it's-
get it taken care
It's
of.
a terrible mess over the whole county. I drove your part, I don't think you,
drive 250th?
yeah, I don't think you had as much heavy rain as we did, but I know what you're talking about. It's a washout there.
Yeah,
But for now, they're gonna have to maybe put a slow sign for now until we can get to it.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's clear from Delphus to Bennington to Tesket to Culver, every road is a mess.
yeah, I guess, so I'm new, right?
Right.
Or fairly new, year and a half, but, so what's hard for me is if we went and looked at it last year, right? And I understand the rains have caused new problems, but the problems that happened before the rains that are still
Okay.
there.
Well,
Does that make
somebody,
sense?
it wasn't the county, somebody's tried to drain that themselves and made a terrible mess.
Are you talking about on 250th?
Yeah. One of the landowners. And put a tube and a bunch of stuff, and it's caused a problem since before you were here. And it's a mess. So, anyway, we'll just have your guys get the grader and try to put a slow sign or
Right.
something. I mean, and then what everybody also needs to remember is we cut back one operator over the whole county. At least, didn't we?
Yeah,
One,
just
yeah,
one.
one, grader operator, so that's stretched the rest of them out a little bit, so, anyway.
Well, I think the 250th is a more, it needs base too.
Yeah,
Needs
It
more
does.
than that, but, yeah.
it does, I mean,
Is
and this is what,
230th the same
and
way?
I'll tell you what I was gonna bring up, Carla. This is gonna spring this on him, and this is something that I'm talking about like in the fall. But I thought that each commissioner should come up with 5 miles each of something that they wanted to put
A priority?
priority. Now, they ain't gonna be able to get them all done, because every road in this county needs to be redone, and that's not his fault, it's just the way it is. It's gonna be a priority, but anyway, I thought maybe we should do that sometime, and
Yeah. Did Joe get back to 230th? I know he said he got pulled off of it, or he's still trying to,
For 230th where?
is that the Verdi Road?
We've got it passable,
Yeah.
so anyway, it's a mess, the whole county.
yeah.
And we're gonna talk about some of that today? No. No, I meant about that's what we're talking about, ain't it?
We got High Risk Rural Road and the County Line Bridge.
Right. But did we up the, damage assessment?
I don't know if they actually got it submitted, but I did talk to both of them, and it's just a estimate when they build all that together,
Okay.
because we've well exceeded what my original estimate was, plus theirs
Right.
and everything. And I think a lot of it, when they put that together, is to make sure we meet the county threshold more
Right.
than it is anything, because it is reimbursement.
Right.
So I know they've still been working on it.
Okay, well, I'm sure
But-
it'll,
But
Go
that,
ahead.
has that been, is that for the 9th? Is that what you're talking about? June 9th? That one?
Yeah,
and,
there's one before it. There's 2 of them that are back to back.
yeah.
That there's there's like a week gap in between them.
All right, we'll let you talk, and then we'll,
Do you guys want to do High Risk Rural Road first?
yeah, go ahead.
So they, I gave it to Tammy. I don't know if you guys got it in the stuff. Okay, and that is who got the bid for the project, which is Schilling Construction. I haven't got a finalized answer yet. They're estimating work date starting April of 27.
Oh, no.
And I've talked with them. They believe we're going to be able to pay for it this year, being it's already this is basically the last item of it,
Right.
and then they should be able to get an invoice going and put together for it. That way it
So
can
we
be
pay it
paid
this
for
year?
this year, but it's still
Won't be done till
it's
next.
still up in the air a little too. That's just based off what some of the people with KDOT are saying.
I've told people that was gonna be done in 2026.
Well, it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It really was, and that's
And you can blame
it's
You
it's
want-
state.
You want me to blame?
it's
Ford?
it is it's a state, and I don't know if it
Kansas,
was,
not the state highway department.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know where or what how it got behind, but because that was supposed to let in February and then
Yeah.
April, and then here we let it in June. So
Well, I'm really grateful Schilling bid that. I saw those bid.
they can start anytime.
They can start?
Yep, as soon as this thing's turned in, they can start at any time.
Okay,
But with the KDOT guy that I work with, with the conversation they've had, they're looking in April of 27.
yeah, Lord,
I'd like it to be done this year. That
Yeah.
way we can move on, but
so another,
I don't. I don't get to enforce that one.
okay.
But there's a huge difference between Schilling and those other two, so I'm
A
really.
lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be, honestly.
So I'm really glad
Mhm.
that bid came in.
Okay.
And the, so the 678
Look,
is our 10% plus.
where
the-
you at?
On this authority to award contract?
What page? The first page?
It's on the
Looks like
first
this.
page.
Looks
It's
like
Candy,
this.
it's on the
Matching funds.
Okay.
And it says that the 678, so that includes our 10%.
The way I understood it, because they did it differently this year, and KDOT's, they're messed up on it. So you always get participating and non-participating cost contracts from whoever construction engineer project design is. Well, they made 2 of them this year. Never seen 2 of them. I asked all
The
of them.
spreadsheet?
Yeah. And I was like, why was it done this way? Like, make this make sense. Like, we've never ever seen it this way on any project. And they said that started, they're still trying to work through it. You know, everything I've understood with all the emails I sent questioning that 678 is built in with the
Our
10%
2-inch overlay.
of with the 2-inch overlay plus the 10% of the
The widening.
the participating stuff.
Okay, so the 678 is our final number, and because you had budgeted
8 something.
875
Yeah.
plus 107, so that actually is coming in less, which is a good thing.
It came in a lot less. The only one they're unsure about that we may have tacked into that cost is an $18,000 cost.
Okay.
Is that well, it includes that 18,000 non-participating
Right, right.
engineering.
Because everything I did in there matches up with that number, but they all came as separate emails, and so when you're going through it, and before they sent this thing out,
The spreadsheet?
yep, it shows that it's going to cost us $890-some thousand, and it's like, oh no, you know. But every email, every person I've talked to, that is
Our number?
our number.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can handle that number.
Yep, with a little bit of room to spare.
Yeah, so that's good. So your plan is to go ahead and pay it this year?
As long as they send me an invoice, I can't pay something that they're not billing me for.
So do
But
we-
I want to pay for it this year.
Need to make a motion to,
To accept the award contract. So I'll move to approve the authority to award contract commitment with Schilling Construction for Highway K-18 going south from 18 to County Line, and our portion will be $678,000.
and I second. It's moved and seconded to approve Schilling Construction for the K-18 highway that goes south to the county line for a fee of $678,000. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you say that treaty deal, was that off 80th?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we shouldn't look at sad that they're not doing it this year, but we should be grateful that it's less than anticipated in
Well,
27.
and especially being to a month and a half ago, they sent out a letter from KDOT, and they came up with their own prices with everything and with all the inflation, that they thought this was gonna be like closer to a $3 million project. And I reached out to a bunch of the engineers, and I was like, have you guys seen this? And they hadn't seen it, so I forwarded it on to them, and I emailed KDOT back and asked for an itemized spreadsheet of where they got this number. Well, I never could get a number produced. That was just the number they came up with. Well, they had to get it from something. And so Kirk and Michael and those guys are like, well, we'll just wait and see what they put out. That's all we can do at this point, because they wouldn't give any of us any numbers of how they came
Yeah.
up with it. So it was a little nervous.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
Okay.
and I looked, you had $800,000 in your account.
We did
and
have to
you only
use some of
spent
the
a
road
little bit.
improvement fund, which would be that $100,000 line item one, to be moving more rock for, especially AB3 for some of this stuff. But
Right.
that just is,
Well, we can replace
it is
that.
what it is, we
Yeah.
have to do.
Yeah, so that 800,000 is still sitting there, which is good.
There might be some oil taken out of
There
it,
was
a little bit of cold
like
patch, and,
1276
yeah.
or something.
I mean,
But
for the
yeah.
most part, we haven't touched any of it.
Yeah, so that was good. And so the bid's good, so
All
thank
right,
you.
let's move on to the train wreck.
To the train wreck?
So Cloud County called me last week or 2 weeks ago actually, and gave us an update that they did not get selected for that bridge.
Oh,
I have no clue how they did not get selected for this thing because
don't know
it's
either.
terrible. It's broken right now. We work with Rod over at Cloud County to get a lane shut down.
so it's a one cross bridge?
Yep. And it's already kind of narrow
It
anyways.
is a very narrow, I went out there at the very
And
beginning.
then now it's going to
Trying to find
be
that.
even more narrower. But after meeting with him, their Kirkemichael representative and stuff, without being selected, we have to do something we can't close it. I mean,
There's
too
no
much
place to get across
traffic that,
for miles.
yeah. So what me and Rod had come up with is they're gonna work with John Markell from Kirkemichael. He's gonna come up with a plan to basically put a temporary fix on it and still apply for it. Cause I mean, best case scenario, we put a temporary fix on it, it gets selected next year.
Temporary as
So
in-
there's no appeal process.
No, not that I'm aware of, not the way they made it sound. And as temporary as basically what they're wanting to do is he's going to come up with some plans to be able to drive piling on the outsides and then run extra beams going through to come back and support it. We don't know.
the existing bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't know a cost
Not to
or
make it
anything.
wider, just to
No,
support
but
the
just to
existing
support
one?
what's there, and then still apply for it. Moving on down the road, this is more of a band-aided fix, and I know they had to work with KDOT to see what they could or couldn't do, and I do know that the load rating will stay the same, but we don't know any numbers yet, cost-wise, and what we can or can't
Wow.
do yet.
Where are they going when they drive that road?
So
I was just curious, it seems so way out there, but when I was standing there taking pictures of it,
mhm.
I had 3 cars went by and I'm like, where is?
Oh, it gets a ton of traffic for where it's located.
So most of that people.
They're going in the backside of Glasgow. I mean,
there's.
but that's the only road you can actually access to cross onto the other side of that for a handful of miles. That's decent.
Both ways, 5 miles each way. I
Yeah.
think.
So that's why there's
Mhm.
traffic there?
Mhm.
Because it looked kind of like a low traffic.
Well, I mean,
light.
there's several, well, 6, 7, 8 houses over on the
Yeah, the
On
west
west
side of it.
and then up north, and then there's not that many more towards.
Because everything around that ends up
Definitely.
turning to dirt. Anything else, like, you got your times you
Mhm.
can cross around, but
Well, I guess whatever we have to do to try to.
So is Cloud willing to share it with us still?
Yep.
Whatever cost we.
Mhm. So they're gonna try to get something put together, hopefully this week, to get some numbers for this and see what we
Good.
can and can't do, and working together on it. And I know we're gonna try to help Rod out a little bit and with one guy, or maybe some signs to put up in advance that it's gonna be a narrow bridge.
It was pretty rickety. All that water, did it destroy it even more? I haven't
Uh,
gone up there since. the last rains came.
Not
It
that
didn't affect
we,
that one?
not anything super serious. I know it dropped a few trees down in it that we went and got, and we're gonna try to get the rest of them out of there when we can.
Okay. Well,
Well,
It's a
always
waiting
come-
game.
You used to come bearing good news that we got.
I wish, I honestly have no clue how with
As bad as
partnering
it was.
deal, how it couldn't have got selected.
there must be somebody upset about something.
The only thing we can come up with is the year before we got selected for one, and the year before they also got selected for one. There
But we
was
shared, I
there was a
mean-
year gap in there still,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Okay.
Bummer.
Well, just tell everybody I appreciate all the work they're doing, Tesket, Bennington, wherever, but Tell them just do their best and try to get things patched
We
up.
got some
till we
extra
can-
guys and some machines trying to help out and run and still try to keep up on regular daily stuff, mowing and
I was gonna
stuff
say,
like
did
that.
did you hire that part-time
He
person?
should finish up his paperwork this afternoon, so then he'll be on the books.
Is he the only part-time person you have this summer so far? Are you still looking for a part-time person?
I gotta look to see what I can afford.
Me, I've been mowing. Been mowing ditches with my own tractor. Not that I wanna brag about it, but I have.
But
Wow, I
That'll
don't think-
work.
I don't think you want me mowing ditches, so.
Well, no comment.
thanks,
All right, well,
guys.
thank you.
Thanks.
Just give me a copy.
And I think, did you already sign?
All right, I'll let you go ahead for a little while. You got one more. I think I'm gonna get my hourglass out. I'll give you 30 seconds. 30 seconds a topic.
Well, these are much shorter ones, you'll be glad. Cause I already talked about the sirens for the fire department,
Yep.
and I already talked about 250th, so yeah, so really, all I have to talk about left is when Ty Masterson was here,
Mhm.
and, it was kinda nice because it wasn't a very big group, so he said, you know, he answered direct questions. We talked a lot about K-12 education, the benefits of the new Chiefs Stadium, he pointed out, and.
So what are, I mean, I don't want you to go into a long explanation about it, but what in the world is their benefits? I mean, everybody that I talk to, it feels like we're getting, out here, we're paying with
Well,
no
it's-
benefit.
Well, according to him, we don't really pay anything. It's not gonna cost us anything. What they do, but the benefit is in that area is there's gonna be a lot of property development. And so their appraised valuations are all gonna go up. So they're gonna get benefit from the
They
store.
are.
Yeah, but it's not gonna hurt us. We out here aren't paying for the Chiefs Stadium,
Not a penny.
not according to him.
We paid for that darn, we paid for part of that, battery factory somehow, I think. I don't know, go
You
ahead.
should have came and asked that question.
Yeah, I wished I would've, but.
Yeah, so I
Carl?
asked,
Didn't you say something about?
Oh, yeah,
there's a
Carl was there, I'm sorry.
Tremendous amount of money that comes in basically from media and their rights to various things. He was quoting money from, I don't know if it was from the where they're at now or just in general at other stadiums and sounded like a lot of outside money, not necessarily just property taxes and sales taxes and that type of thing.
or the people coming in, yeah, it's gonna draw all these people to the community, and then
So
you have
did-
increased sales tax and things like that.
Did you do anything about getting a government, maybe getting us a suite, cause we're government officials?
No, I did not.
So the big kick, Scott, is that the Chiefs Stadium itself won't pay any tax, that's what people are gonna say.
Right.
Is that area is not taxed, and the give and take is what some people are saying is what having Chiefs Stadium there will bring in makes up.
I
for
understand
the
what
tax
you're saying,
expense of
but-
that piece.
I'll believe it when I see it, that it don't cost us something somehow. But anyway, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, so he talked about that, he talked about his position on, illegal immigration. We talked about, data centers a little bit, and, we talked about, property taxes a little bit. He believes in cap, he didn't, so we got off on another tangent, so I didn't, when he said, I believe in property tax cap, I didn't get to find out if that was capping valuations or capping the counties what
Right.
we can increase. And so, like I said, we got off on a tangent, and I was like, oh, I never got back to have him explain what he meant when he said that, so. But the good thing is that, but the other thing that he really emphasized was the vote on August 4th about the judges. And, so he talked about that he said Kansas was unique in the current method of judge appointments. So I kind of read some articles online after he said that, and it says, yeah, according to, this is what I proof from Legal Clarity Team, in an article published on May 30th, 2026 said, 42 states use some form of popular election to choose or retain their judges, making judicial elections the norm rather than the exception. And so a no vote for Kansas is that they will continue that a nonpartisan judicial nominating commission provides the list of nominees to the governor, who then appoints the Kansas Supreme Court justices. So it's the nonpartisan judicial nominating committee, whereas the voters don't.
So he's for the vote or not?
For the yes vote.
Yeah.
And so he said, and then I quoted this, there was a KU law review article from Marshall Stula that said Kansas is unique and special in many ways. One such way that many Kansans are unaware is that Kansas is the only state in the country that gives members of its bar majority control to select justices on the state's highest court. So a yes vote would allow the voters to select it. So I thought this is something that isn't really talked about very much, but it's really important
Yes,
for our
I think
state.
it is.
And I'm amazed how many people aren't talking about it.
Well, I think for so many years, it was the way it was, and people didn't pay that much attention. That's just like every other thing. You and I are really concerned about it, but 80 other % are not paying attention.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things that and it's the primary ballot rather than the November ballot question. So we really hope people get out and vote.
Right.
And you know, I saw in the newspaper where you printed all the people that ran for positions. And it's pretty sad that we have so many positions that no one filed for.
Well, it depends on what, cause it's both parties.
I know. It's both parties, but also even precinct position and township positions, and there was a lot of no filings, which I really wish people would step up and
I do too.
serve in those positions, so.
I mean, people, be quiet.
Pretty standard, isn't it?
Yeah, has been anyway.
And the last thing I have is that I had a constituent come up to me and talk, and they said, why on earth are you talking about new windows that cost $1 million? Can't you fix the windows that we have? So I'm throwing that at you, Scott, or we can ask Keith.
Well, there's no reason, because I mean, Keith and I beat it till it's dead. This is old glass and old frames, and I mean, like from 1950, whenever this
Okay.
was born or built.
Uh-huh.
And there's no way that it can be used
So you
again.
can't seal it, the problem.
Yeah, I mean, it
That's what
is-
they're saying. You could do a lot of sealing for $1 million.
Well, you could sure come in here and block things off and make it look like crap, and make
Well,
the outside look like crap. I mean, you could halfway do it, but it's not. I mean, if I envision someday of getting the windows fixed and sandblasting this place and making it look like it's brand new again,
Mhm.
but we sure can't build one for that.
Yeah, no, you
And
definitely.
these windows, I mean, they're just, of course, you know what it's like when it's cold.
Well, I know, Tammy, do you have any comment on the windows?
We do have an issue with, not just windows, but leaking in the courthouse, because I know my election equipment have had issues where, I've had to move them because of water spots, and then papers, and one of my statutory duties is to keep historical documentation. And to be honest with you, to the point where I don't know where I can keep it here, where I can guarantee it's not gonna get wet.
And the thing about this, there's no easy way to do it, cause nobody knows until we tear one of them out how much it's gonna cost to replace it and put it back so it looks good, and because it's built into those columns, it's just they build it like, I had an elderly gentleman tell me they built it like Fort Knox. I mean, when they built this, there's so much metal in this building, and it is really, really sturdy.
Sturdy, yeah.
I mean,
So we should just
but back in the
restore it.
'50s, the glass, times have changed. We talked about putting tin on them, but it just
The issue there.
Just putting a Band-Aid on, we can put a Band-Aid on it and just keep going, but I just envision maybe someday we ought to start doing something, but
So,
Can't wait long, cause,
No.
stuff is getting, ruined.
Yeah.
I've had water spots on some of my stuff that should not,
yeah.
there's
Well,
a-
that and you know, we got the register of deeds, treasure everywhere, everything, you know, and the appraisers.
documents.
Yeah, there's a lot of documents that,
It's not just historical reasons, like we have.
we're really one good storm away from being, I mean, if it blew the windows out of this part of this place,
So I think what.
it'd ruin a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
I think what we need to get at is what is our plan, cause it's on, you're right, you're absolutely right, we're one good storm away from having an issue where we have to replace a lot of stuff or pay to start storing things other places.
Do we have, so Keith didn't have an update on the windows or?
I don't have them on the agenda.
No, I
Did you
actually
talk to
talked to
him?
him this morning, he said that, he'd been on them, and they haven't called back. So, anyway, I told him next week, we need to get him
To
on
have an update,
next week,
to say, at least say what progress he's made?
yeah.
Okay. I did look at those valuations a little bit. Did you look at the valuations that Tammy sent out?
Yeah, a little bit.
And so, you know, I try not to focus too much on the mill levy. I really look more at the actual dollars,
Mm-hmm.
because like in this situation, so last year we went up 5 million, this year we went down 2 million, and we can't control that.
Right.
All we can control is our expenses, the
Right.
budget side of it. So, but when I looked at the detail, it looks like our residence is gonna hit again for the
And that's, I mean, that's terrible, but
residential.
I don't know what, you know, I think we could probably cut a lot of stuff and really cut people and cut back on help, but I don't know if it's gonna do that much good for the property taxes on residential.
We lost 5 million in state assessed.
Yeah.
That's
That's what's the problem.
5 million in state assessed, it killed us. I mean, we only show we went down 2 million because there were some things that were built in the county that helped elevate our valuation on that side, but we went down 5 million in state assessed.
Bad deal.
So, yeah,
I guess
so,
we need to, well, that's no quick fix.
so I showed our state assess went down 2.8, would you say?
I thought it went down 5 million.
It went from, it was 30 million, 30.5, and it
What,
went down to.
what are you looking at exactly?
I pulled this report from last year and compared the two.
Yeah, I don't have my documents in front of me.
I know, I'm throwing that in,
Yeah.
but, yeah, so it's hurt because the residential went up. But you know what else got? The commercial and industrial went up a lot.
That's what saved us from dropping so much in state assessed.
Is that increase in the commercial and industrial primarily the home farm?
I will not say
I'm
whether
sorry.
it was or wasn't, because I don't have individual people, I don't wanna talk about individual taxes like that.
Okay, so, but the, commercial and industrial went up, of assessed $993,000. So,
Well,
so you see when it goes up and down, who it affects.
right,
And I guess I was kind of disappointed. I thought we were closer to a break-even budget than that. So I'm gonna look at it over this next week and see why it didn't do what I thought it was gonna do.
And I will say to look it over, again, what I've heard from every department head is, just food for thought, there is no way department heads are gonna be able to be flat next year. It was so incredibly hard to do it this year with the cost of everything going up. Everyone's, you know, a lot of people did it and they're a little uncomfortable with the budget, but they wanted to follow what they're told. And so my biggest fear is not spiking taxes on, spiking them on people, keeping it.
Yeah, I still
I
think
just
it's,
wanna give that food for
I
thought.
just didn't expect it to go up that much based on when we went through it line item by line item, so I'm gonna look at it again,
that's fine. I think you should.
since I'm one of those.
I didn't say that.
If there's anything you have questions on, send them to me.
I figured that.
Yeah, just because I know if you look on some of the pages that he gave you, like one of my emails to Lauren, some of that stuff still was, I don't think she quite understood. So I'm gonna have to go back through and fix those.
Okay,
It shouldn't do too much to the budget, but there was some stuff that, with the transfers and tied to other things, and so I haven't looked to see if that all got fixed up. So you might find things that we were already kind of in the middle of, or I might have an answer to, otherwise.
so our R&R number, I'm trying to look at that. This, at the 82.576, I'm trying to see where, shouldn't the R&R rate be on here?
R&R's on the last page.
84.
Our R&R is 82.576, and they're suggesting we're gonna be at, well, yeah, it's on that first page there, but that's
So that's
82.576.
82, and what are we projecting?
84.643 currently.
We take
One
that
mil is
200,000 that Chris
107.
saved and we're good. No, you can't do that.
Yeah, and I think, he's trending on commodities higher, so, I know he buys a lot early on, but
Right.
anyway, I'll look at it again and be hopeful.
Hopefully,
that?
that's right.
And then we'll just talk about it next week.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Do you want a motion to adjourn, Scott? I get to make this since Dwayne's not here?
Yes, please.
Okay, so at 10:52, I make a motion to adjourn.
And I second. It's moved and seconded to adjourn at 10:53. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.